Ooh, let the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off, oh god. All this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about. Watch you fade like a thought, skull town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. 301 in my hands, different drop, same plan. To my squad, I'm the man, I'm a witness, no I can't. Sending shots, no spam, accurate, watch them slam, watch them run while they can. Make them slump, give me the loot, take what I want. All of my rounds, light like the sun, yeah I am the one, lighting you up. R301, you're all that I need, you're all that I want. We at the top, act like we scum, taking your life and leaving the crumbs. Do what we want, we get the dub, living that life, yeah, R301. I got the size, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mag, more shots, standard stock, ready pop. I got the sights, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mag, more shots, standard stock, ready pop. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off, oh god. All this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about. Watch you fade like a thought, skull town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off, oh god. All this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about. Watch you fade like a thought, skull town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off, oh god. All this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about. Watch you fade like a thought, skull town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off, oh god. All this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about. Watch you fade like a thought, skull town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. I got the sights, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mag, more shots, standard stock, ready pop. I got the sights, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mag, more shots, standard stock, ready pop. I got the sights, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mag, more shots, standard stock, ready pop. I got the sights, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mag, more shots, standard stock, ready pop.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome as we kick off qualifiers for Season 5 of Series E Apex Legends. My name is Ye, so happy to be your host here once again as we kick off the action. 4 nights of qualifiers ahead of us here at Esports Arena, and we couldn't be more excited for all of that. Now, for those of you that are new, I want to break down just what Series E is, okay? Series E is a professional esports open circuit that absolutely anyone can join across multiple different titles. We've got Halo Infinite, Guilty Gear Strive, and of course, Apex Legends. Now, the way things work is players and teams go and compete in our open qualifiers, just like today, and the best of the best make it into Series E. For those teams and players, they get to sign a contract. They get drafted by one of our partner brands. They make a monthly salary, and they get to compete weekly for points and prize money. In Apex Legends, it's every Tuesday and Wednesday night. So if you and your friends want to get in on the action, signups are still open right now. So head over to matcharena.com/ESA. You can also use exclamation point sign up in Twitch chat right now to get the link that you need and get a shot at being a future Series E Pro. If you need any more information, make sure to head over to esportsarena.com. Now, as we turn our eyes towards tonight's action, I want to break down just how qualifiers are going to work. It's a little different, if you haven't been here since the, maybe Season 1 or Season 2 of Series E, we've changed things up a little bit, okay? The way things work is we have up to 60 teams that can sign up 4 qualifiers. We will divide those teams up into multiple different lobbies for the first round. So for today, for example, we had 50 teams competing. Those teams were split into 3 separate lobbies. They have played 4 qualifying round matches, scored just like the ALGS, and the top 6 teams from each lobby make it into the finals lobby, and then the top 2 in overall scores across the rest of the teams remaining also make it in to complete that full 20. Those 20 teams will now compete in 5 games in the finals, and they want to get as many points as possible because it doesn't matter if you win tonight. It is about cumulative points in the finals lobbies across all 4 days of qualifiers. So not only do you need to show up today, tomorrow, and the next Tuesday and Wednesday, you also need to perform in the first round to get into the finals lobby and then perform well in that finals lobby, put up enough points to finish near the top of the standings to get that shot at a sponsorship and a spot in season 5. So a ton on the line for all of these teams. And of course, we've also got a brand new patch, right? We've just kicked off a new season. We've got a new legend, Newcastle, who we have seen a bit of in the qualifying rounds so far, when I'm expecting to see more of today. We've got changes in the weapon meta and all kinds of great things, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. We have a couple of casters that will be breaking all of that and more down all throughout tonight, so look out for my friends Why Not and Dia on the cast tonight. I'm very excited to hear from those 2 gentlemen. They'll have a lot of fun tonight. I'm certainly going to have a lot of fun getting to hear what they have to say. Now we're getting ready for the first game. So of course, we've got the 20 teams selected for that finals lobby. We're getting them ready and raring to go for these 5 games of action, and I hope you are as excited as we are. When you look at the history of Series E and the kind of teams that have come through this system, I mean, look at the brand new Optic roster, right? 2/3 of Season 3 Team Intel, right? Verholst playing for TSM. All kinds of former Series E talent littered all across the ALGS. And if you can compete this season, you'll have a shot to do the same. But we're ready to go. Qualifiers are underway, so let's kick off another season of Series E Apex Legends.
You are the...
Hey, welcome everybody.
Series E Apex Legends.
All of World's Edge explodes into chaos, and G2 round the corner, taking what is rightfully there.
War with our Ashe player Musin follow, and it's going to quickly switch to the Peacekeeper, putting down damage quick as
that Fury starts it off with the devotion and does so much work. May have single-handedly clutched it for Vizio, and with the last shotgun shot, does it?
Let's get the games underway, man. I'm ready to go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Season 5 of Series E featuring Apex. We had 50 teams enter the arena, but there's only a few sponsored spots available. I'm Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. I'm kind of a freaking big deal. If you don't know, now you know, and I can't do this alone. I got my man Dia with me. Tell him something, Dia.
Well, as Yeso said, I think that the most important thing that we should start off with today is the fact that it is a new season, not just for Series E, but for Apex Legends. So for every team that we've got in the lobby right now that is making adaptations to each other, to their drop spots, to their game plans, and how the qualifiers are working out, they have this additional level of difficulty in trying to understand what on earth is going on around World's Edge, as everything seemingly has changed.
It really has, you know. Not only do we have different nerfs to obviously different legends and also different weapons, but we also have the introduction of an entire new legend, and that is Newcastle. I've been paying attention to a couple of pro streamers, trying to watch and try to figure out what Newcastle brings to the table. And although I'm not going to lie to you, I wasn't all that excited when I started hearing about him at first. Now that I've seen him in action, I am thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, a highly impactful legend, and one that I'm expecting that we'll see with relative frequency. I know that Yeso actually gave us a little bit of a teaser there as to how much this has been used in the qualifying rounds, but with a lot of portable defense that Newcastle gives you, I think it's only fair that we give a little bit of an introduction to him. He does, of course, have the ability to resurrect people while moving them around and using his knockdown shield as cover. Additionally, deploying these mobile shields and even setting up a stronghold with the use of his ultimate is allowing teams a lot of safety and a lot of stalling potential that was previously just Gibraltar. We've seen him sort of added into the mix of defensive legends, but we still haven't seen a whole lot of teams depart from the Gibraltar sort of, still, you need this legend.
Yeah, RIP Lifeline, but you know what? Newcastle does bring a new element. Probably the only fortified legend that has a bit of movement, because like you said, with that ultimate, not only able to, build up a fortress, but literally can go up to, I think, 70 meters towards a teammate's position or a random position on the map, goes in there. You can even turn around and drop the shield back in any direction and drop that fortress. So again, you have a fortified legend who also has a bit of movement, which is really fun to see. I'm excited to see if anybody's going to bring Newcastle back in, or are we going to stick to old reliable Valkyrie, Caustic, Gibbies, a little bit of Wraith, a little bit of Ash action, probably, the fundamentals.
That's the other big question about the season, is with the changes to Valkyrie and specifically to the out-of-bounds mechanics, we may just not see as many Valkyries, period. And I'm not expecting that for today, because she is still old and gold, and can bring you to otherwise impossible places, but I'm very curious about how these touch-ups will affect her.
Well, you know what? Why don't we take a look at the format, because that might shed some light into the situation a bit. We have a custom server with 4 qualification matches and 5 matches in the finals. Again, we're looking for those top 10 teams from each of the servers to make it into our final matches. And not only is there a chance to get part of one of the sponsored teams, but we got a little bit of money on the line. $500, that's not bad, for a little weekday action. Dia, I'm kind of nice on the sticks. I'm just saying, if you want to ditch this whole casting stuff and get a little squad together, we who knows? Maybe we can get sponsored. I know me some Razor.
Here's the thing about that. Why not? The competition at Series E has only been getting crazier and crazier over the past seasons, and I'm honestly kind of scared, given the talent that we had in the qualifying rounds already today. We had several teams competing to qualify into Series E that were maybe one lobby away from jumping into the ALGS championships. That is how skilled these guys are, and this is where they're looking to improve their craft. So I'm ready to jump onto World's Edge if you are, but I'm prepared to take a beating.
I'm not going to lie to you, you successfully scared me away. I think I'm going to stick here and just cast some of the action. But, I'm going to sit here and we're going to learn from some of the best, and maybe we could take some tips and tricks into our own ranked lobbies and get rid of the competition. So I'm going to stay back here. This is probably where I belong. Dia, I know you've been grinding a bit of Season 13 as we're waiting for the lobby to form. How were you liking it so far?
I'm really enjoying it. This has been majority of the time on Stormpoint, so I am enjoying the addition of the armories and things like that. But I think that the thing that I'm looking forward to seeing once we pop over onto World's Edge is how many people are happy to have things like the Flatline and the Spitfire back on the ground. It has been so nice, and honestly, I've been seeing a lot less of things like the Rampage and the R301 that were previously staples. I'm wondering exactly how replicators will fit into rotations, because so few people have been prioritizing those replicators for things like the 301 and the Rampage, when helmets and knockdown shields have become more important. And I'm expecting to see a lot more Spitfire, and that means a lot of firing at the same time. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love me the Spitfire, but I've been seeing it on some streams, and let me tell you, most of the guns that you have in Apex usually have a very small clip in them, so you usually get punished for missing shots. The Spitfire, you just hit them with the and eventually some of those shots are gonna hit. I'm not the biggest fan of the Spitfire coming to the action, but what I am a big fan is some returning talent. I'm seeing some names that I personally recognize. I'm seeing Blueberry coming back. I'm seeing, I believe, Z Davis coming back. I'm seeing Kubsky as well, and even Apathy. So I'm seeing some returning talent. I know you're taking a look at the team list of some of the players. What's jumping out to you?
I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to teams like Optimal Ambition and Alter Ego. Lonely Fans, of course, you mentioned it with Blueberry, has my attention. Tap Strifer's team Inferno. You see so many of these teams participating at the pro and semi-pro level throughout the course of Apex Legends and even the ALGS, as we already alluded to, with a lot of them competing to try and get into, well, even the championships, and a lot of these guys did get really close. Before we jump onto World's Edge, however, we are going to take a very short break to make sure that all of our teams are set up and these games are good to go. So we'll be right back with even more Series E Season 5.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Get the balls in the breaks. I'm talking one chance that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Let's go.
Etc.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
gangsters coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking, yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the breaks. I'm talking one chance at the soul. Going for the goal. It's one shot. Now the future is yours. Go.
Eccentric.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin. Game over for headaches.
It's going down. It's going down. It's going down.
We're gonna do it in 3, 2, 1.
Pressures coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true spot trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formulatic chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the breaks. I'm talking one chance. I was so close for the goal. It's one shot. Now the future is yours. Go.
Eccentric.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin. Game over for headaches.
What's up, guys? Back once again with Season 5 of Series E featuring Apex, and we want to get into the action immediately, but we had to make sure we worked out a couple of the kinks, a couple of the bugs. Want to make sure everything is right, not only for you guys at home, but also for competitive integrity as well. I'm Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. I got my man Dia with me. Dia, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really good, especially since we've got all this sorted out. Finals are so important to all of these teams that it's going to be 5 games, yes, but 5 games full of every team trying their hardest along the way. A lot of times when we come up near the end of when we come up near the end of the day, when we get to games 5 or 6, you'll see teams that are in the bottom 10 that don't have a chance at the prize pool really just full sending it. They'll drop on they'll drop hot, they'll go for 50-50s, and they won't experiment or really push themselves to the next level. That's something that I really like about the qualifiers, because we aren't going to see that from teams. We're going to see clean, polished play at the top of their level for every single one of these squads throughout the 5 games, given that really every game matters. As many points as you can accumulate, you get to keep.
I think that's a great point. Like you said, every single game matters, so they're going to be leaving on the line, and you're not going to see that griefing like you would. It's a very good point. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that, not only through obviously the first few games, but also when we get to those final games and seeing how teams on the right side of the bracket decide to play things out. We might see, still 18, 19, 20 teams even going into round 2s, and maybe even going to round 3s, but how slow they're going to be playing this out, which kind of reminds me how they do in ALGS. Let me tell you, man, it is not a ranked lobby whatsoever. It is such a different pace when we are watching the top competitors go at it.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, we come back to what we were thinking of earlier with how out-of-bounds play is going to affect this, with ALGS being, I think, very reliant on late Valkyrie rotations. That's one of the things that I think is going to impact a lot of the gameplay. Well, you and I were also talking about, however, the very small things that are starting to trickle into Apex gameplay, or that we may see today with the reduced spawn rates of both syringes and shield cells.
Yeah, as a Loba main, I was told that I might be slightly nerfed with that just a little bit adjustment in the ground loot, and on top of that, maybe Legends. I want to say Lifeline, but you're not going to see Lifeline too much competitive. But maybe Watson gets like kind of a silent buff because of situations like that. We're going to find out what Legends are going to be dropping in. We're having all 5 games here on World's Edge, 20 teams hitting the map, but only a few ABW can come out on top in that top 3, in that top 2, and poise themselves further into these final qualifying rounds.
Let's get into it. Let's see where we end up going for the very first game of the finals in these qualifiers. Lonely Fans starting off over at Big Mod. An important thing to note here is that with those Big Mod weapons, you've now got the chance at things like the Spitfire and things like the Flatline that you did not before as some of those gold weapons. And H&M, looking fashionable, but not quite out of trouble. This could be problematic for the squad they're going up against. Finding Flesh already. We'll see if Musin and Nelson are able to finish this off. Wraith Q won't get you out of everything.
A little bit of Wraith on Wraith crime that we're seeing here. Alternator out, and it looks like the Wraith will go down, and that's going to be a Pathy. And now we see the armor swap coming in out of Nelson as he quickly gets back into the action here. A 3v2 scenario right now. It looks like H&M have the advantage.
From the low ground, I do have a few concerns about how they're actually going to access the rest of this fight. Musin seems to have had them covered, though, as he and Hundreds move out towards the eastern side of the map. Getting yourself onto this bridge, and maybe even further up, could be a path to success. GNR fighting inside a thermal station, an early 50-50 contest, it seems like. But a nice crack from up top with this Caustic, no less. Now getting challenged as he drops down to the rest of his team, but not in time to save himself.
GNR trying to get up to the god spot. Sadly, it's not going to be high enough, so Gibby ends up dropping down. The early bubble coming in, but so does the Spitfire coming out of Most Hated. And as of right now, they are most hated in this situation. Yet another one goes down, and that's going to be a wipe in favor of Most Hated. Enjoy that loot. Enjoy your riches.
Really nice pickups in the corner of the map, and we're getting even more over at launch site. WRB eliminate Team Inferno so quickly. Team Inferno, I think surprising to see them go down before the first ring closes, because those guys have been competing for a long time.
And WRB letting them know about a little bit of respect crouching coming in after taking them down, showing respect to your opponent, maybe saying a prayer, wishing them luck into the next lobby, into the next game. WRB looking very good as we're down to 18 squads already. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize to you guys at home. I want to apologize because I said this lobby was going to be a little bit slower. It's been anything but that. We've seen back-to-back action, and something's telling me that we're going to see more, Dia.
We really are, especially as we pull ourselves up towards the north. There is a lot of open ground to be fought for here, and notice that nobody is inside of Survey Camp yet, one of the very powerful positions. You want to be playing either in Survey, the train tracks up to the north, or the train tunnel off towards the eastern side of this ring in order to have the best possible chance of making it into that mid and late game. A lot of teams, though, are going to encounter trouble making it there. Teams like ABW, perhaps, running into a few cracks in their plan.
We've seen many players on screen so far. We're seeing a lot of Spitfire action, which I can't say I'm surprised about it. Like we mentioned before, so much ammo. It's a weapon that can take on those 1v2s, that can take on those 1v3s, sometimes with even a single clip. It's so powerful in the fact that, I said it before, lots of these weapons don't have a large clip. You will pay for missing shots. With the Spitfire, you can miss a few shots and then kind of regain in that situation and get back into those gunfights. ABW having 2 players with white shields, currently 1 with blue, and rocking the fundamental Valkyrie, Gibby, and Caustic, same as Synergy.
It's something that I think a lot of teams very clearly feel comfortable on relying on. They haven't shifted things up since moving over to the new season, and this won't punish them too much because most teams haven't had the chance to adapt. However, the landing does really hurt them. Already taking good chunks out of Krizik, who actually gets knocked outside. This is a big problem as Flux would have to expend bubble, and I'm not sure that he has it. Alter Ego not going to give them the chance to. Pushing in now to the Macaroni building inside of Survey. Polar Ray with an excellent bubble buys his team space and time, putting the pressure on. And though they get knock on Mitten, it's 2 down now, and Alter Ego are in danger of losing this fight.
Ultra Eagle were in the driver's seat against Redeem, but Redeem coming out of nowhere and putting them down, and now they're chasing away the third-party situation. Sadly, they end up going down. That early bubble wasn't enough to net them a win in that engagement. We're down to 16 squads right now. We have Redeem sitting comfortably. 2 players with purple squad, purple armor. Now we have Z Davis going to be the third one. Welcome back Z Davis.
This is sick, actually, to see Redeem picking up. Redeem are playing with a sub today. Ack, not normally on this roster, but they are looking smooth and practiced as they make their entry into survey camp, and a bloody one at that, picking up all of those kills, and with purple armors as well, something that I hadn't expected, given the fact that they came out of Fragment, which I think people have been reasonably talking about, has had its loot sort of shadow nerfed in the past little while.
I noticed we actually just were on board with Redeem, who was able to get out of not only able to take down one squad, but even able to fend off a third party. But it's BP looking right over them, having angles over towards this top side as round one hill will be falling in. We still have 16 squads, so still no team wanting to overcommit, because there's definitely a potential for yet another third party to come in. Bursty will end up going down, going to be forced to back down, play his life, but like I said, no real true engagements coming in just yet. Nobody aping.
With Bursty on this squad as well, you've got to pay respect to him, a previous member of Buff Pathfinder. CDE, in the meantime, also a competitor at the semi-pro level that we have seen a lot of, are still going to be actually working with the power position in this map, or at least one of the notable ones up towards the north. Along these train tracks, you get a lot of space, and with Sea Escape running the longbow now, they've actually got an opportunity, should they take a little bit higher of a position, more towards the northwestern side of the map, to get themselves a few nice kills from all the teams that are going to be skirmishing inside of survey camp.
CD actually running a Loba instead of a Caustic composition like you're seeing with ABW at the moment. Our Caustic player Nobu sitting up high with the flatline. So glad we have the flatline back as ground loot. I mean, it was only in the crafter, but I will say it's a lot easier to grab it, get that ammo, and put it to work. This way, if you're on the crafter, next time, instead of wasting on the flatline, you can now get yourself some batteries and some extra utility as well. ABW having two players with blue shields, one with white. They want to fight off this team. I'm just not sure they have the resources in order to do so. So maybe holding this down, especially getting value out of your Caustic, might just be the play.
I remember you spoke about the sort of nerf to Loba there, with the fact that there aren't as many shield cells, aren't as many syringes available. One of the things that this was a really big buff to in the new season was crafters. If you are integrating replicators into your loot paths in the same way that BLM are right now, you have access to a lot more shielding and healing than other people would, because, like you said, you can craft those batteries and the med kits. Redeem, in the meantime, using a med kit of their own, as it seems like they got into a little bit of a spooky engagement, but we'll be able to make it out okay. Notably, our only team so far running the Watson, giving them a lot better economy as well.
And I don't know if my eyes deceive me, Dia. I'm not sure. You know, I'm getting a little older now. Ain't no way I'm seeing a Mirage here in the final qualified. Ain't no way I'm seeing a Mirage in this composition.
If it were any team but Optimal Ambition, I'd tell you you were right. I'd say there's no way, it's a bug, call it home. But Optimal Ambition do tend to go this way. It does seem, however, that we've got a little bit of an interruption in the match, as we're going to be coming back to our faces as we figure out what's going on. More importantly, talk about the fact that Optimal Ambition run the Mirage, because they have unironically done it in the ALGS to try and qualify for champs, and they almost did it. Why not?
Hey, you know what? I'm not even mad. You got to march to a beat of your own drum sometimes. So if Mirage is the play, Mirage is the play. I definitely did expect it. It caught me by surprise, but it seems to be a little bit of issues in the lobby. And like we said before, at Esports Arena, we take competitive integrity, at utmost importance. And again, for the best broadcast, we want to make sure that everybody is coming in fully loaded. We want to make sure everybody's coming in and playing on fair ground. So we're going to try to figure out exactly what's going on here. Either way, we saw some action. We saw us go down to about 16, almost 15 squads right there. A little faster than I anticipated, Dia. How did you like, I guess, version 1 of game 1?
I thought it was pretty cool. I do wish that we'd seen a little bit more Legend diversity. It's the only thing that I'd really put on the I'd like to see this more, but it is the new season, and I think that it's worth noting that teams may not feel comfortable experimenting given exactly how much is on the line for them. You want to be one of the few teams that gets to qualify for sponsorship in Series E, because it means a lot to be able to actually make your living as a professional gamer, something that a lot of these teams haven't had access to.
Yeah, I used to compete back in the day in Halo, and I'll be honest with you, I might have been on the cusp of making it to that semi-pro, that top 32, top 16, but I never actually made it to that top 16 area myself. I would have loved to have a semi-professional league where you can compete once a week online against some of the best of the best, get valuable practice, and on top of that, earn yourself some money. Without it's a monthly salary, we're talking prize pool. Series E is going to change esports. Right now, they're dabbling in Apex. Right now, they're in Guilty Gear and Halo, but I would not be surprised if we see Series E across a lot more esports titles in the future. And you know what? I mean, who better talk about Series E than my man Yeso? Why don't we send it over to him so we can talk about some of the action and a little bit more about Series E?
Definitely a lot of teams that I do have my eye on here tonight. Why not Andia? And I'm looking to get, kind of more into it as the night goes along. Looking to get a little more games under our belt. But I definitely do want to say I have my eyes on Optimal Ambition and Redeem here tonight. A couple of rosters that I'm excited about. I'm curious to see how they can do in the qualifiers here and see if they can be one of those kind of top contenders to get into the season. But did want to come in and clarify for everybody at home just what's going on right now with the lobby. We had multiple teams. I believe we had 4 to 5 actually get netcode errors and crash there in pretty quick succession in the middle of that game. So right now our TOs are restarting, getting a new lobby put together with all the teams, and the plan right now is to restart game 1 totally fresh. Of course, it is an unfortunate circumstance, but pretty early into that game feels like the best way and kind of the fairest way to handle the situation. So we are going to get the lobby kind of put back together. We'll start fresh from game 1 here in just a few moments as soon as the TOs are able to get that set, get all of the teams in and get ready to go. So that is the plan for right now. So we're going to get game 1 started all over again. Right now, we're going to go to a quick break so you can take a moment, take a breath, get what you need taken care of, and come back here because we're going to have more Series E Apex Legends qualifiers when we return.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. With the bars and the breaks, I'm talking one chance, that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Excedrin.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin. Game over for headaches.
we're gonna do it in 3, 2, 1.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true spot trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the brakes. I'm talking one chance that was so good for the go. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Etc.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again with Series E featuring Apex, provided you by Esports Arena. Why not be reckless, AK? Why not be casting? I got my boy Dia with you, with me. Excuse me. I apologize. We've been trying to get this lobby fixed up. We're trying to get this lobby together. We talk about all the time. Competitive integrity. We need to make sure that everything's running good. Otherwise, it's no point in running. If we're not going to do it right, we're not going to do it at all. But hopefully this time, 3 times the charm. I've heard that a couple of times, Dia. How are you feeling about going into the qualifier, finally getting into a full game number 1?
I'm feeling really good, especially given what we saw in what we'll call the beta round 1, the test run. Just making sure that everybody was good. Now we've got a few teams that are understanding where they're contested, right? And having seen teams like Redeem being able to pull off a third party, Most Hated being able to grab their 50-50, if we see them return to these 50-50s, it'll be intentional, it'll be calculated, and, well, hopefully it'll go their way, but, I'm not going to pick sides.
I'm not either. I'm gonna say that even though I'm not picking sides, there's a few players that I will be keeping my eye on for. Like, for example, I talked about Z, Davis, and Ack. I feel like I've seen them before. Really excited to see them go into work here in Series E once again. I see Flux as well. I see a Pathy on one side. That's gonna be absolutely sick. We see Blitz coming out of Void, and even Kubsky, another returning Series E player, and Bursty right next to him on BP. So lots of returning players, which I'm really happy for. But I'm also happy to see the new blood coming in, wanting to prove that they have what it takes to become a signed team. Again, we're not playing for chump change right here. Our money don't jiggle, it folds. And if you want to get yourself a monthly salary, if you want to be competing with some of the best, you can do it right here in one of the qualifiers to make it into Series E.
Okay, 2 things. One, if I could tell the audience how many times I've heard that today, if I could even count, I don't even know what I would do. Second thing, teams that are standing out to me right now, Void. You were talking about a few of them, but Void is of special interest to me because they competed in LCQs. And hey, there we go. We end up hitting World's Edge, so we're going to get the chance to potentially talk about them here. What's notable about this team is not only their performance in LCQs that may not have been up to what they were looking for, but still did look really convincing at times, but also the fact that they're competing with Six today, the former IGL of Ghost Gaming.
20 squads hitting the map here, but only one can come out on top, and it is Most Hated, already fighting early for Thermal Station, and one quickly goes down. We saw Most Hated get an early wipe, but as of right now, they're on their back foot.
Nice dismount from the gravity lift, almost grabs you a knock. The last Hemlock shot's not quite hitting, but you've got to imagine that this fight is in the bag for Most Hated. Excellent follow. Most Hated are going to be picking up the revive as well as they take out yet another squad. Very nicely done for them, and yet another 50-50 won.
Yeah, big ups to Most Hated, because as of right now, that was the first time that we saw them in an individual gunfight or a 3v3 where they were on their back foot, but they were able to regain, they were able to wipe out. Now they're fully loaded once again. Another team that's in another 50-50 is H&M, and in version 1 of game 1, we saw them put in the work. Down to 17 squads at the moment, but H&M having yet another team in their sights.
This is excellent as well, because it seems like they've been able to replicate their success from last time and continue to actually put you into a position where you really have no way of winning. H&M are doing a really good job of surrounding this little building inside of staging and making sure that there's no clear exit, no clear way out. Hundreds able to loot up on the way as well, making great use of the ordnance, and we've got to imagine these are a few kills coming in unless the team on the inside pulls off something incredible.
H&M want to close the distance, so the first thing they're going to start off with throwing those nades. That was enough of a distraction, even though they weren't able to get the hit markers, enough of a distraction for them to close that gap. Now we're seeing H&M right outside of this building that is being fortified by the opponents, but they are breaking through. I don't see no knocks. I think they're just walking in, putting their feet up right on the coffee table, opening up the fridge like they own the place.
Only one clip left on that Havoc for Hundreds, though, so they've got to make it count. Not a whole lot of energy ammo in the area, and when you you get into close range, anything can happen. You want to be playing at your comfortable distance for as long as possible. One of the big problems with H&M's loadout right now is that they want to be in your face. Things like the Havoc, the R99, the Prowler that have been picked up are all very close range, and that forces them into a bubble fight. Out comes the Havoc, the Arcstar as well, not quite landing instantly. Apathy ends up going down yet another time, a first casualty in this engagement, and H&M seem to be winning things, just barely being able to come out on top with 50 HP remaining cumulatively.
H&M must have somewhere to be the way they dealt with that quickly. However, a third party coming in. Instantly, Hunter's going to try to back down and at least play a cell. We see the Wraith Q coming in, but
no
Synergy on their tails. It looks like a 2v3 right now with Flux and Uriel going up against the full 3 squad of H&M, and H&M are still backing down and still trying to gain composure here, but a bit of a reset. Now, onto Fragment East side as we see another altercation. This time, it's Alter Ego looking to get a bit froggy.
We gotta look at Alter Ego previously, and well, they are another one of those teams that I've seen run the Mirage in the past. They're choosing not to go with it this time around. I do wonder whether Optimal Ambition has doubled down on that and seeing if they can make a little bit more successful of a play with it. As Alter Ego make their way through Fragment, though, it occurs to me that we don't actually have an idea of where the circle is pulling just yet. Not as much of a one as Alter Ego do, and their movements make a lot more sense when compared with the fact that we're going over towards Geyser and Overlook.
And Geyser are a really tough POI to land on. You know, it's really tough to break out of Geyser no matter where you go. You're usually going to get gate kept out and usually wiped out quickly, but now we're seeing some of these zones go early in, so you don't have to break out. There's a lot of these buildings that you can fortify, especially if you have a caustic in your composition, such as Tap Strafers, who have just that. And not only do they have a caustic, but they got a caustic with purple shields at the moment.
This is really nice, and being able to set up inside these buildings should make Tap Strafers all the safer. There are 2 possible places that this ring will pull. One going to be on the inside of Geyser, and the other going to be out into No Name. We don't see a whole lot of endings in the tunnels, so that should be safe, as Tap Strafers will need to hold on to this real estate for as long as possible, even in the face of other squads that will be entering Geyser soon. Redeem actually forcing another squad into the tunnels, and potentially a risky exit from there.
You know me, I'm a controller, crutch player. So when someone be tap strafing on me, it makes my aim assist go wild. I'm not happy with that. So I'm not a fan of tap strafing. I want them to go down right here. I want them to go down to 16 plays. I don't want to see no more of Tap Strafers. What I do want to see is Redeem shaking things up. Valkyrie and Gibby, that's kind of the fundamental, but they've introduced a Watson to their composition here. I'm really excited about that. That ultimate can be a hard counter to Gibby and also can be able to gain those extra shields and really get you ready for the fights. And don't get me started on those fences. They've gotten a few buffs in the recent seasons, and they're absolutely deadly to deal with. It can be a nuisance.
It provides you so much safety in these little wars of attrition that are happening even off towards the eastern side of the ring of the map. BP are waging a war of attrition with the squad in these tunnels. I think a nice turnaround as they start to pay a little bit of attention to Redeem, who gave them some love taps on the way as well. But Bursty's got another focus, right? As the Gibraltar, you want to make sure that these tunnels are secure, that you can own as much space as possible without being challenged. And though it may look a little bit risky, a nice position from BP gets them an even safer Valkyrie ult, supposedly into Geyser.
Gotta be careful with those Valk ults because you can't go spinning like you did before, so always make sure that you are safe and getting shot at as little as possible, and that's exactly what BP do. And they'll try to get themselves in a more advantageous position. We do see a 30-30 in the hands of Bursty. Ever since the G7 Scout has gone to the care package, we've seen the 30-30 really start to get value, and hopefully get some value out of that because our Arcstars are coming in, and there's another team in their sights. It might actually be Z Davis and Team Redeem.
This is a very early ult from BP as, oh my lord, the 30-30 shots start connecting. Notice that the defensive bombardment was used as they landed to buy them time on one side, while Caustic trapped the other. This is to avoid the third party and, well, even first party possibilities. BP want to play this for the long haul, although with Osabem looking like that, things might get a little bit more difficult. Bursty's going to have to pop up to the roof, sees that nobody else is actually looking at them for now, but is getting angled on as well. BP are being pushed into a smaller and smaller corner, and this is exactly what they tried to avoid earlier.
You mentioned before that this is an early Valk ult that's coming out of this team BP, and honestly with this position, I'm not mad at the position, but it seems a little early to be here right now. It doesn't seem the best. They're in between, they're sandwiched in between two different teams right now, one to the right, one to the left. I would not be surprised if BP are waiting for yet another Valkyrie ult and want to get out of that situation as bad as possible. Meanwhile, Most Hated wanted to get into a situation, a beautiful flank coming in out of MJ, but not able to get the knock. In fact, he's going to get knocked himself. That's going to leave Mars Streams by himself, going all the way down to one shot with the health, but luckily has a bit of shields to work with. WRB have a 2v1. They have to win this piv.
Well, Tom Cruise had some pretty nasty Prowler shots before he ended up going down. A Caustic Trap will buy you a little bit of safety, and it seems like that's enough for I Am the Biggest Boy to go for this res, leaving his Gibraltar outside to ultimately take some folks down and perhaps find some loot. BLM inside of the ring, inside Harvester with triple golds are getting aggressive right now, and this is what I like to see. We got the Gibraltar Horizon Ash combination. This is a close range, in-your-face team fighting comp.
Triple gold coming out of BLM, but they are taking some damage, so you're going to see Karma try to back down, play a quick battery to try to get right back into the action. Still 14 squads remaining. BLM immediately taking height, and looks like that team taking to the skies, but ripped for 126. He's almost down there trying to find the finishing shots, but they're not able to. That Valkyrie might have been able to get the Valk out of there.
That was so close, though. BLM almost secured themselves the kills. Now having to focus everywhere else as Harvester is starting to attract a lot of attention. Perhaps it was the gunshots from earlier. Perhaps it's the replicator that BLM now have access to. But with only a minute left, they've got to make use of it and start making their way in towards the zone because they do not have the Valkyrie to use.
And clearly they were able to make use of a replicator earlier because we do see Decoy with the R301. I missed that being ground loot already. It's been a few hours only, but we do see the R301 in the hands of Decoy. Gonna try to make use of it as we're down to 14 squads, physically 38 players here on the map, and a long rotation will have to be made by BLM. Meanwhile, Ultra Ego not having to rotate anywhere at all. They're loving their positioning. They're high up watching this cut. For anybody trying to rotate in from Fragment East, anybody trying to get over to Geyser will have to run through Ultra Ego, and that could be some easy KP for the boys.
This is a really solid position, as Alter Ego didn't want to take a guess as to where the zone would end up, whether it be in Geyser or inside a no-name village. Now that they have this position, they're going to be able to farm up on either side, because whoever's chosen wrong, they've got to go through Alter Ego to actually get into the zone. Really excellently picked, and given the fact that they have a Caustic, they should feel even more comfortable. The biggest challenge from a position like this is going to be keeping their eyes on all of the squads that are surrounding them, and for Polar Bear, he's going to have to make use of the 313 heavy ammo that he currently has. Oh my god. It's a single fire weapon, bro.
I don't know if there's enough. I think you need to go for 420. I don't know. It's not 313, not enough. Love the fact that they have the Caustic gas just planted out for anybody. Again, anybody wanted to go through, they have to go through Ultra Ego. And if they do, not only will they have to deal with obviously the shots coming from them, but also that Caustic canister could be absolutely deadly. Provides instant intel for your Caustic player and cheeky damage going in. And don't get me started on screen clutter. God help me, so much screen clutter.
Way too much. Void might be one of the ones cluttering them, as popping up from Lava Siphon. This is one of the squads that we wanted to keep our eyes on. They've actually got BLM at their backs, but no shield cracks coming through just yet. Means that BLM are going to have to be relegated to this low ground for the moment, fighting up against Void on the height, who, remember, are piloted by a new IGL today.
BLM still rocking the triple gold. How often do you see that, D? I feel like I've never been in a situation where I've had all three players with gold shields. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm a huge fan of it. Taking that early damage, being able to get maximum value out of each and every one of those cells, especially because sometimes batteries can be hard to come by. If you're not getting those squad wipes, or you're not getting yourself to a crafter, it's really tough to get your hands onto some batteries. BLM still electing to gatekeep this team out of the zone for as long as possible. They're sitting on the edge. Don't push them.
That's actually a great point to make. One of the things that I hadn't thought of yet, but just, the prioritization of these gold shields, given that you cannot rely on finding as many meds around, you get, like you said, a lot more value and a lot more comfortability, enough that BLM feel great moving through the sight lines of Void up to Grandma's house, and now maybe challenging WRB. You could tell that Redeem are off in that building, as they are still one of our only squads running the Watson, so they're still holed up in Geyser, but WRB are holding outside of it, and as this zone continues to close, we have to expect that we're going into Geyser now.
I love how surprised you were that I actually made a good point. Like this guy's been talking for an hour and 23 minutes, and he finally said something of value. I'm utterly shocked right now. WRB sitting up high, sitting towards that edge of the zone, trying to stay alive because they're getting griefed by a charge rifle. You know how much I love myself a charge rifle.
Oh my God, I do. Oh, I know. I very well know. And the charge rifle is prioritized for a reason, right? Despite its heavy ammo consumption, there's such reliability with it, and it's great throughout even the mid-game, being able to get involved in kills, potentially like this. The squad landing in the middle of nowhere. We're turning in the Lonely Fans, though. Another innovator in this lobby who've got Blueberry popping off with the charge rifle, but what's catching my eye is the fact they're running Seer Newcastle alongside it.
Hey, I'm not mad at it. When it comes to Seer, Seer truly is that ultimate incel. When you drop that ultimate for coming from Seer, there's so much aggression that you can put because you know exactly where the enemy is. You know their shields. You know their health. You can collapse on them. It's absolutely incredible. And WRB are starting to feel that pressure. They already have a player going down in Caustic. We're going to see a Gibby dropping the defensive bombardment to try to slow down their opponents, but they're being shot from all sides. WRB are in trouble.
7 seconds, 3 seconds now left on the bubble. Potentially the res on I Am the Biggest Boy. White Tom Cruise has bought plenty of time and is actually going to try and pull off the res bubble-less. You found enough cover here. An important conservation of resources for WRB, given the tight spot that they're in. Biggest Boy is going to get that heal canceled, but they should be all right for now, because the one thing that you can rely on is that the squad above you should not desire giving up their high ground.
Lonely Fans sitting up on that high ground that you were referring to, just looking down on their opponents, and they do not want to give up this ultimate positioning that they have. They have their backs against the edge of the zone, so they have no reason to worry about anybody coming from behind. They only have to worry about who's under them. Now, eventually, that zone will end up getting smaller. They will have to relocate, but as of right now, they're sitting comfortably. Optimal Ambition looking for that level of comfort right now, taking shots left and right. They're trying to avoid the zone, which is literally right to their left, and they're working through this very narrow angle. Finally, the car coming in. Excellent shots. Gibby goes down, and just like that, we are down to 10 squads remaining.
Surgically removed now from this game. One member left. Optimal Ambition have ended up finding themselves their first kill point of this game, and now have to make their way out of tunnel. We saw them being forced into this situation earlier, and while it's clear that they've survived, if not thrived down here, the exit is still very difficult. You attract a lot of attention coming into Geyser, and you've only got to hope that some squads can upstage you. A squad maybe like Void, who are now trying to make their way in.
Yeah, we talked about this angle that if they had to push through and try to get through Geyser, they would have to run into Alter Ego, and that's exactly what's happening to Void right now, but they're fending them off well. That was a beautiful shot coming in out of the longbow to force Alter Ego to now back away. Now Alter Ego relocating, and Void should be able to make it into the zone and be able to introduce themselves to the party, but it looks like Gibby gonna go down immediately. That's gonna leave Mitten by himself, goes down to one shot. He's gonna try to play this res, but Alter Ego definitely not in the driver's seat in this engagement.
Oh, certainly not. Mitten ends up getting taken down, and by the defensive bombardment, no less. Obsessed is going to join him. BP are able to clean up yet another couple of kills, but now are starting to face that third party that they have no defense against. Bubble is available, but to pull off two reses at this point, nearly impossible. Optimal Ambition have made their way in from tunnels by being upstaged from Alter Ego, and now are getting themselves a chance at KP.
BP were able to clean up, but now it's Optimal Ambition coming in for the rinse, wash, and repeat. Redeem end up losing a player immediately. That's going to be Z Davis going down, leaving our Gibby and Valkyrie by themselves. Luckily, they bought enough time for them to go in for that res, but the defensive bombardment's coming in. Nades are shots. Redeem still in the middle of all this action while everybody is trying to fight for some spots, fight for some real estate as that circle's moving into round number 5.
Really solid pickup, and remember, these fences are going to provide a lot of value inside this building. Difficult to push in without exposing yourself to incredible risk, and that means that Redeem would have had a great time should the circle have been pulling to them, but now have to face up with the reality of relocation. Joey Blackout's bubble, the only thing that will really help them here, since they aren't running something like the Wraith or the Ashe that can instantly portal you between 2 places safely. This is going to be a tough journey for them, but if Redeem can make it and set up shop with this Watson in yet another building, they should have the game in the bag.
And that's exactly what they're looking to do. And luckily, they do have the shields to fight this off. We have a player with red, a player with purple. So Redeem are definitely ready to fight. And like you said, once they get into that positioning, they're going to be able to lock things down with those Watson fences. They are so tough to deal with. And now Redeem just continuing to get resources. Tap strafers also sitting towards the outside of the circle, so eventually they will have to relocate and try to fight their way in. There's simply not enough room for all these teams here. Game number 1 in round 5, which is closing in just 25 seconds.
It's going to be Tap Strafers that have a long way to go. They do still have part of a building left to hold, but are watching their backs, I think, quite wisely since that timer's starting to tick down. If any team were going to push into this building, now would be the time. Door locked with the caustic trap, and a nice pop on that from Blake. Is it the perfect time to keep other squads from pushing in? I got my eyes in the kill feed on Lonely Fans, seeing if they're going to show up. Since they're also going to have to ditch their high ground if they haven't already, likely using that Valkyrie and maybe committing to an out-of-bounds play. We'll see how it ends up working, as Newcastle Seer, the unorthodox composition they've pulled out, can only do so much to help them.
Speaking of unorthodox, I think I saw an R99 and a bow check coming out of one of our players here from Tap Strafers. So that's an interesting, I guess, an interesting loadout that they're going to have. And like you said, Lonely Fans coming right in, immediately taking height and getting cover with Newcastle right behind enemy lines. And we see the tack comes in. So tough to deal with Newcastle, having multiple ways to turn any area into an ultimate fortress like we're seeing here, creating cover on this height, seemingly out of nowhere. 7 squads on the map, and we are seeing pings left and right. They're trying to bring us down. They were able to deal with 1, but that's not the end of that squad. There's a team, 2 of them ratting it out.
Oh my lord, that was so cool! Why not? And we get to see it continue as well. They've won the fight. They've survived. And while Newcastle's walls are in a little bit of trouble, they seem to be relatively comfortable in the grand scheme of things. Redeem on the other side, not so much. Z Davis is low. Joey Blackout has been forced to bubble out in the open. And though you're trying to set yourself up for success, you found yourself outside of the center of the ring, outside of a building. Redeem are in trouble, but seem to have evaded in a focus for now. They've got plenty of kills. If they can survive with some placement, they're going to be good.
Yeah, I think it's a really good bubble coming out of Joey Blackout. The problem is that it's a bit early here, so I was thinking that maybe they might get tossed. They're going to toss a couple of nades, toss a couple, maybe a defensive bombardment at him, but I just noticed there's a Watson ultimate literally sitting right under Ack on screen, so they are very good to defend against any Gibby utility. Trying to shoot down that Newcastle wall. It may be tough to deal with, but eventually they can go down. But Arcology gonna answer back with 132 damage of pure pain out of his R301.
He's playing with no recoil, actually. That was a crazy beam, and Void are looking for some of their own. Playing on the outside of Geyser, they finally made their way in. And we'll see what their new IGL can bring them. Trying to play underneath Geyser, it seems. Inside of these buildings, they've found a rat and are going to take him out. Bursty ends up going down quick as you like, but Burton goes down just as fast on the top side.
Sack that man like we're playing NFL Blitz, but Borton goes down as well. Void still alive and somewhat kicking at the moment, but shots are ringing left and right. Redeem gonna try to use this back wall as cover, but they have damage coming in from the right, coming in from the left. They gotta be careful here, so Ack gonna slow things down, try to find some cover under this building, but it seems like it's only a matter of time before they will be dealt with.
Optimal Ambition starting to put in some work as well. I've seen Blakeu show up in the kill feed. Void are not looking too comfortable, and Lonely fans want to take advantage of it. They've found 6, and they get the crack. They find Flesh, but do not commit off of the high ground. Arcology, having gone down, though, leaves them as a 2-man, and with just 4 squads left, that could be a deciding variable. No Newcastle. It's just up to Seer and Valkyrie trying to play around the outside of these buildings. They'll start tanking zone to retain high ground, but up comes Boxa T, wiping them out. Optimal Ambition, they are taking the forefront of this game. 3 squads left, and Boxa T is in there like swimwear with the Volt.
Optimal Ambition coming in with the optimal positioning, able to deal with one. That's another squad that goes down. Although they lose one, they're able to come out on top, and that's gonna be it. Optimal Ambition stealing away game number 1.
Excellent play from them at the end. We noticed when they started to take control, when little bits of squads started to fall off, and playing inside the building, Optimal Ambition did really well to retain their advantage, not getting greedy and able to turn that into a great victory. I think even by answering the squad on the roof, which was the trap that a lot of teams were falling into, just not really being able to shoot up for all the people that were around them.
Excellent job for Optimal Ambition to take game number 1, but we have plenty of action coming in. Don't you guys go anywhere. Don't touch that dial, because we come back, we're going to have more of Season 5 Series E.
Game 1 in the books, and Optimal Ambition, one of the teams I told you I was keeping my eye on in tonight's qualifiers. They grabbed the victory here to kick off the finals lobby. Well played from the squad, and they have 1 of 5 here under their belt. So well played from the squad. Let's check out our first player of the game here for tonight's competition as we keep it rolling. Of course, remember, all of these teams duking it out, trying to secure one of those spots in Season 5 of Series E Apex Legends. Grab that monthly salary, get that spot in every single pro night to compete with some of the best teams in North America. So there's a lot on the line for all of these teams. But this time it's going to go to a Caustic player named Caustic. 5 kills and 3 assists in this one, and just short of 2,000 damage. So well played and a good round there. I'm very curious to see how the meta shifts here. Of course, it's only the first day of the brand new season, so changes may take a little while for players to figure out, how the new changes affect the balance for all of these legends. Who jumps higher in priority, who drops down that list. Of course, Caustic has been quite a mainstay for a better part of the last 8 to 10 months here, and still showing up quite a bit in these lobbies, but I'm curious how those change with the new compositions players can put together with Newcastle. A lot of people talking about maybe Newcastle and Gibby combined provide so much defensive viability here, so we'll have to see how things change up as play continues. But of course, we still have 4 more games here tonight to keep it rolling. So we're going to go to a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll have game number 2 for you all as we continue our first night of qualifiers here for Series E Apex Legends.
Walkers at the edge of the hills. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. With the bars and the breaks, I'm talking one chance to have a soul. Go for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go.
Game number 1 down, but still plenty of Apex action to come here. Series E provided by Esports Arena. Why not be reckless here? I got my boy Dia with me. Man, let me tell you, Optimal Ambition coming in hot in game number 1 and setting the tone for the rest of these lobbies. What are you thinking about that game?
I'm thinking that's a really solid performance, and I'd expect that from Optimal Ambition once more, at least before the night is through. This squad almost made it to champs through the round of LCQs for a reason, and let's take a look at the Mobile 1 leaderboards to see exactly how big that reason was. A 25-point game, why not?
25 points coming out of Optimal Ambition. They keep this up, and they're going to be putting up 125 by the end of the day. Redeem right behind them with 17 big points. And we also saw Void putting in that work in third place in the double digits with 10. I will say, don't get satisfied just yet. There's some hungry opponents coming in trying to climb that leaderboard. WRB, Lonely Fans, and even BP still within striking distance.
I'm really keeping my eyes on Lonely Fans. Let's see where our eyes were drawn to in that first game of the Mobile 1 high performance moment. Let's see who ended up making it into the highlight here. Lonely Fans, this was a pretty cool bit.
That it was. We definitely saw some gas, some premium at that, so it must be Mobile 1. Lonely Fans just hunting this team down, really thanks to the information that Seer was able to give them. And once they got that information, they pounced immediately. Love that coming in, Lonely Fans. That's what brought us down to 6 squads, but also really started that snowball effect as everybody started to come in for that KP. The zone getting smaller and smaller, and it was unforgiving.
Using Newcastle so well. I mean, those guys looked absolutely terrifying, and there's a reason that they are near the top of the leaderboard. With consistency, they can make it up even further. But one of the things that we've got to talk about is the fact that these points are going to stay with them, right? For Lonely Fans, they've already done their job being in the top 5 right now. They can continue to make their way further in, but as long as you can constantly find yourself at least some points to work with, you are going to be good come the end of qualifiers. Let's take a look at game number 2 and see who can stay constant.
All 5 games going to be on World's Edge, and this is game number 2. Hot dropping in as of right now. Optimal Ambition were able to put up 25 big ones, but can they keep that same energy? Can they keep that aggression, hold on to that number 1 spot?
We're going to find out. A big part of this is, of course, going to be how the ring ends up playing out. Optimal Ambition had a nice rotate down to the south because they land inside of Overlook. And Geyser is really only a skip and a hop away. But should we see a zone that pulls a little bit further, Optimal Ambition with a team composition that does rely pretty heavily on being inside the zone with the Gibraltar and the Caustic may find themselves in a little bit more of a difficult situation. Looks like Hunted on Bang also in a difficult situation as we find ourselves in yet another 50-50 over here by staging that does not seem to be going their way.
Pathy sadly having nothing but the Ku-9 knife to fight that off, and let me tell you, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Gonna learn that very quickly as Hunted on Bang gonna try to rotate out of the situation. They're just not fully equipped to handle this fight. 18 squads on the map. It might be down to 17 if Hunted on Bang aren't able to get out of the situation.
Right now, with the Valkyrie, the jump tower nearby, they should be okay. Looting up the POI will be more important than chasing down digging the squad. But as GNR pop up in Thermal, they might be turning around a fight of their own. This has been one they've lost twice in a row now, but just like that, Most Hated get turned around on and taken out.
And that's the power that Valkyrie awards you. You put down shots, immediately take height, make yourself as hard of a target as possible. As a Valkyrie player, it's sometimes more important for you to play your life and to stay alive than to even get damaged. Open up those lanes for your teammates to collapse. That was beautifully played by GNR.
Sick way to do it. Now they get to transition that into a great game as well. Look at how close the ring is for them. A squad like Optimal Ambition going to have to make their way over to Harvester and perhaps Lava Siphon. Harvester seeming like the natural end zone for this. A lot of times we'll see zones end just south of Harvester over here, so keep your eyes on specifically how Void are set up, because you'll notice that 6 is already positioned where I'd expect this ring to be closing.
And I'm keeping my eyes over towards the southeast side of the hill. You got 2 teams that are already very close to Lava Siphon, but then you're going to have 3 or 4 more teams that are going to try to gravitate over towards that area within the next zone or 2. That's going to get really hot and heavy, and teams will be forced to fight it out, and eventually teams will be forced to get to the lobby earlier than expected as we move on to round 2, round 3, and even round 4. Meanwhile, Synergy still trying to find themselves some decent armor, still trying to find themselves some decent loot. I'm not completely hating their position right now, but still having a player with white shields going into round number 2, not exactly what you want to see.
We're a little bit disenergized for a moment. I think they all want to take the jump tower together. A nice call there, getting Flux back with the group. You can do this, and you can Valkyrie ult immediately after to cover a lot of ground in a very short amount of time, in addition to getting all of the information that you get with Valk scans. But Optimal Ambition aren't taking the path that I thought that they would be, perhaps by using that jump tower and then Valk ult to try and play zone like they did in Game 1. They're playing edge, and not in a super committed way, but in enough of a different style that Optimal Ambition are changing things up pretty significantly.
Yeah, and especially normally when you have that caustic composition, and that's a team that usually wants to get themselves more towards a center in the zone. But you know what? I'm never mad at playing towards the edge. You usually have to worry about what exactly is in front of you as opposed to behind you. Makes the game a little bit easier. And if you're an ultra aggressive team and you can win those 3v3 gunfights, why not play edge? Why not challenge some of these teams and put in the work? Just make sure you avoid a third party.
One of the best ways to do that is going to be by holding a height that is difficult to third party. CDE, a masterclass in that right now, or directly above where we last saw Void, and in a great spot if you believe the zone is going to end here, as I think most teams do. Nice shots as well from Nick. Do mean that he still has to relocate as he gets beamed from this low ground. CDE should be all right. Carl on Bam going down surprisingly quickly. Are they taking this fight? They don't have to.
Well, it looks like they got the initial damage that they wanted to get aggressive here. I love the fact that Loba's catching a different angle does Carlin, but sadly ends up being ripped. Lots of damage onto 2 players, and we're going to find out if CDE can capitalize. Immediately Ash portaling up, taking down 1, but Nick is going to join them on the black screen. Clutching out, does escape, but we're seeing shots coming in. Alter Ego introducing themselves to the party.
Void go out to that fight, and Alter Ego the ones to clean it up. Maybe cleaning up another squad as well. Great third party for them, taking out 2 different teams, Alter Ego and CDE. Void and CDE, Alter Ego there.
I mean, they just played it masterfully. They waited for the knocks to come onto the feed, and once they were confident there was knocks on both sides, that's when they come in. That's when they get aggressive, simply playing your numbers and playing the timing. I don't care who you are. You can learn how to shoot. You can get better, but sometimes that instinct and awareness and timing is really hard to teach. And you're seeing the crafting going off. They're not done yet. They're going to have another squad in their sights. 15 squads still on the map, so there's plenty of more kills to be had here.
Playing quietly for the moment. Synergy are the ones on the high ground, making use of this replicator. A few shield bats to work with, but not enough sustain to feel comfortable with the team in front of them and behind. There's a lot to worry about in the future of Synergy. We're still inside of the top 15. They've collected at least one placement point now, but with the kill as well, we're going to have to make that 2. Those points will be theirs to keep throughout the remainder of the qualifier, and you'll hope those 2 points are enough to keep them ahead of other squads. Synergy end up committing to this low ground, and it's a move I like a lot, given that they have a caustic.
And hopefully Synergy are very well aware of Alter Ego literally being right above them right now, but that's the one thing that Caustic really allows you to do, is taking low ground and again creating a fortress. You can lock down every single one of these doors, and if anybody tries to push you, they will have to run through that gas, screen clutter, damage, and free information for your opponents here. We have WRB. It almost looks like he's running while holding his Q. I'm very confused about it. Okay, finally, it was very confusing there, but let's go with the Q finally.
I was also a little worried about him, but it seems like he's figured things out. I was wondering if it was a little bit of a bug or how White Tom Cruise is going to recover, given that he's got that gold shield that we saw a lot of last game. He should be able to recover okay, but chunked down to 50 HP. WRB do have to be concerned now about a team potentially committing to this fight in a way that Redeem do not have to. Nice hold over here at Harvester. We didn't see how they got here, but now that they are, it should be difficult to push them out, especially with the zone closing right next door to them. The push down to the low ground is the one thing that they'll have to keep their eyes on for later. Realm Royale, not even there yet, are just taking chunks out of squads on their way.
Yeah, Redeem, Synergy, and Alter Ego, I believe, are the 3 teams kind of sharing real estate over towards that Harvester side, and eventually I'm sure they will see some action, but as of right now, they're kind of GA, they're kind of gentlemen's agreement. We're just going to chill here. Realm Royale, very comfortable in this position, a very hard position to hold on to, but they're setting up the caustic canisters, they're setting up the armor swap, so if anybody tries to push in, they will have a hard time dealing with Realm Royale.
One of the biggest things that I am worried about, though, for Realm Royale is that while the spot is difficult to hold, it's also not worth very much this round. So while camping the banner may be a good idea to try and get yourselves some more kills, I'd like to see Realm Royale start to walk their way into the ring instead of putting themselves in a position where they have to Valk later on. A spot that Optimal Ambition may very well find themselves in, although they're guarding a rotation into Harvester, which I really like here. Considering the nerfs to out-of-bounds play recently, Optimal Ambition are a lot safer from this position than they would be otherwise.
Optimal Ambition, winners of game number 1, and when they went into that final circle, they were fully loaded. As of right now, still having 1 player with gray shields. They're looking to upgrade that as soon as possible. ABW trying to get Froggy, trying to get into some action here. Shots are starting to ring out, but all the screen clutter, avoiding all of that damage is their opposition. Finally, they start to go in, though. It looked like that might have been a stick for a second, but ABW are getting ripped and forced to relocate, and there goes the early bubble from Thumper, along with the defensive bombardment. These 2 teams are about to hard fight.
There's a lot of confusion there. Realm Royale have come out on top of it in the HP pools, though. Pump from Zipper doesn't connect, but popping out. He ends up taking down Destroys in a 1-for-1. Realm Royale could still do this. Zipper has to reload that PK and is playing the knockdown shields as he gets taken down. WRB are coming in for the third party, but it's ABW that go out first. Can Realm Royale survive? Will this caustic gas provide them enough cover to get the reses? WRB are unable to push right now.
They really were. Just saw Tom Cruise try to get into the action, but all of that gas was simply slowing him down. It wasn't doing much damage, but the fact that it was slowing him down bought enough time for Realm Royale to get out of the situation. WRB gonna come in for the cleanups, but Realm Royale live to see another day.
That was a really nicely played little bit of action as well as WRB, well, they did get what they came for, were ultimately denied by the caustic gas, and a great call from Realm Royale to say our best bet at this point is to leave one member alive and hope that that's enough to make it into the end game. Placement is going to matter so much, especially now that they have the kills already accumulated. BP, however, already close inside of the ring as well, are one of our other more comfortable squads who are going to be playing this one out as a 3-man with relative safety.
14 squads remaining, 36 players on the map, and BP very comfortable with their positioning early here towards the center of the zone. Now, I will say this tunnel, and when at first glance, it looks like it's going to be really tough to try to guard all sides, especially with a team that can be coming in from the inner building. Dia, how do you feel about that positioning there?
On the high ground, I actually do really enjoy it. This is the position we're talking about, yes?
Oh, I was referring to the last team, but you know what? Let's talk about Ultra Ego. They have high ground. I much rather this position than what we just saw earlier. I'm loving this. Why don't we talk about this coming out of Ultra Ego as well?
Sure, yeah, because this position does have a few nuances to it. Of course, Valkyrie squads are going to be a risk in the late game, but the really big thing is that with so many zones that pull here, timing is everything in end game circles. You want to bubble far enough away from the building that you get a little corner of the end game circle to yourself and 4 squads beneath you to fight. And that's all while avoiding in the mid game the threats that we're already seeing, like the ones in the front that can shoot at you and the ones in the back that can climb on you and make your life really difficult. There are a lot of ingress points onto Alter Ego's power position for right now, and though it is a power position for a reason, it's one that requires finesse to turn into a win.
So much value coming out of the charge rifle shot out of Mitten, but it's BLM that are coming in, try to get some value out of the black hole. Sadly, nobody caught in there, and it looks like that team was able to get out with the Valk ult. Excellent flatline shots out of Karma, but I don't believe it was enough. That team is going to be able to rotate out of the situation 1 minute and 39 seconds before this zone starts to close in, and we're seeing BLM taking a much longer route, but might be a much safer route in the long run.
We've seen so many Valkyrie teams today be reduced to flesh, but I haven't seen one knocked out of the sky just yet. BLM, while they got close, they're going to have to attempt that another time. And hey, as we look at the next ring, we've actually got some news here. This isn't pulling directly south of Harvester. While it still does leave you in a really nice spot as Alter Ego, what we've got to consider now is that we have several other squads, notably BP, that have a great position to be able to stall out until later and assault the high ground once there's already chaos below.
And look at the positioning coming at WRB. Tom Cruise and WRB looking very good. They're able to make it into that inner zone without any contention whatsoever. I'm loving that. It looks like they're actually rotating away from it for some reason. But either way, they're still going to be able to get easy real estate. H&M, though, I will say I like their positioning, but as of right now, things are anything but easy. Sentinel in the hands of our Gibby player, Musin Flower, and they have a team right to the east of them.
Curious how they'll play this out. They are one of our few squads running Bloodhound and Wraith. Notice that they have no reposition on that Valkyrie, so if they do get edge guarded, it's going to be really effective. The thing is that inside of Harvester, they do have a lot of options with the Wraith to be able to get into these little nooks and crannies with expert precision that things like Ashe Valkyrie do not provide. I'm curious how they'll use this, because you could see them easily bamboozle a squad by showing up in a very unexpected position. Lonely Pants? Nice turnaround. Sneaking up now. They've popped the Bloodhound ultimate already. They know exactly what they're in for a dime, in for a dozen. I don't know what the saying is. The point is, other people are dying on our screens, and Lonely Fans are the ones to make it happen. The heal, I think, gonna go up in time for Grinch, but no, it's not enough. Caustic Gas turns it around on him. Arcology ends up going down, and they 1 versus 2. Blueberry now in big trouble as he gets taken out by Optimal Ambition.
Lonely Fans had all the advantages. They had the numbers. They had the first knock that they needed to get aggressive, and even had the intel coming in from Bloodhound, but it wasn't enough to stop the wall that Optimal Ambition were able to set up. Excellent defense coming out of them, and no wonder why they were able to come out with a clutch win in game number 1. 12 squads on the map, on board now with BLM.
That was such a crazy turnaround with the caustic gas. So infrequently do we get to see it ticking for that much damage, but man, does it look good. And the fact that caustic wasn't nerfed this season, I'm sure, is already bothering Lonely fans. They're gonna have to wait until the next one to see if they can come out on top of that engagement as BLM start to wrap around the side of Harvester. They're gonna have a problem as well, being scanned. They are a little bit nervous about committing, but commit they must onto the low ground and specifically off to the east of Harvester. You've got to win the fight for this low ground because it's the last remaining position available.
BLM were only able to put up 3 points in game number 1, and I think they're playing well right now. It's obviously not going to be enough to make them, to get them into that end game. So they're going to have to find that KP. They have to find their way into the end game. But BLM looks like they're into a fight. It might be Optimal Ambition that they're going up against. They got to be careful. Peacekeeper shots coming in. The double bubble arc star starting to fly, but nobody home just yet. BLM going all the way down to one shot. Does decoy, and it looks like Optimal Ambition are starting to get aggressive. They get the first knock, and now they're firing shots with a flat line and looking to get into the face of BLM.
They've got to be wary of the exact same thing that punished BLM, though, the shots from Harvester. Having lost one themselves, Blakeu should be able to get a nice res, not even going to wait for the bubble to come off cooldown. They know they've got time for this, is on the outside. They are continuing to punish what I can only assume is BLM. Boxity still wanting to get inside the ring, but it's H&M that come over to finish off BLM, and now are going to be able to effectively gatekeep Optimal Ambition if they play their cards right.
Optimal Ambition wanted those kills. They wanted that positioning, but all they did was run right into H&M, who are setting up a portal to help to gatekeep them forward. We're seeing the bubble being used early here. Now the counter bubble coming in out of H&M. 100's going to lose all of his shields there, but luckily has the cover that he needs. I think I saw defensive bombardment about to come in soon. Car takes down one. Defensive bombardment is coming in right as that bubble is starting to end, so that's going to be deadly for H&M, but they still were able to get the knocks that they need, and just like that, Optimal Ambition have been eliminated courtesy of H&M.
And 11th place as well, not even making it into the top half of the lobby. We expected great things from this squad, and we got them, but it's a big shutdown from H&M that is a very convincing argument for them. Maybe trying to usurp a little bit of that momentum. Now they've got the key rotation onto the low ground, a lot of loot to work with, great cover outside of Harvester, and you get to watch all of the action go down inside of this POI and wait for the kills to come to you. GNR go down, hunted on Bang, end up going out in top 9, and it's Redeem that are controlling this high ground and controlling it masterfully. There's no way out for this caustic.
And it looks like Redeem really are the ones who gained the most value. Optimal Ambition going down. They were sitting in second place with 17 points, and just like that, we were down to 7 squads, and Redeem having a decent amount of KP, but ultimately having their eyes set towards the end game here. Titus Esports gatekeeping one team out, trying to grind their way forward. Shots going in from the car, but shots coming right back. That's going to force the early bubble from Zarkly.
It was good bubble, but not quite good enough. BP are coming up behind them. BP, who were hiding in this tunnel from the beginning, you have entered their territory, and now they've got the opportunity to use this chaos, get themselves a position on the low ground, and keep going, because we've got 5 seconds until the ring closes, and this is not in zone. Nice beams from Vampies. Gets himself a chance to heal up as Bursty pushes forward. This is going to be a squad wipe. You have to imagine it's BP.
BP absolutely on the hunt. They were able to take down 2 players. It looks like Titus Esports will be eliminated. 18 players on the map right now, but BP not yet in the circle just yet. And it looks like there's a team that are trying to keep them out. Meanwhile, Redeem sitting in high ground, looking at everybody from above. Love this coming out of Redeem. Redeems are poised to go for that number 1 spot, but it is not going to be easy.
So much damage from the high ground. Redeem end up even popping Z Davis down to control a little bit of the low. And with this, Watson, you are a big threat inside of the final zone. We got a Mastiff in play as well. Alter Ego, the ones to whip that out. See what they can do with it is very quickly they'll run out of ammunition on the Spitfire. No way to re-up this for right now. Deathbox is in the area, but they're not going to have time to go for it because you've got a third-party Redeem. Only 3 squads are left, and Redeem have so many fences behind them that they might just be safe. Ack pops up, lays in a shot with the Peacekeeper, and is able to ward off this third party, but only for a little while. Musin still starting to push over. Arcstar's landing as the Watson ult gets destroyed. Redeemer in a corner with no way out.
Excellent Peacekeeper shots coming out of Redeem, but they had all 3 players currently were cracked at a moment. Luckily, that Watson ultimate will get so much value, bringing them back up to full shield and ready to at least fight off a bit. Bloodhound scan goes in. That's H&M. They dealt with Optimal Ambition in the early rounds, and now they're looking to deal with them as well. Nades starting to fly. They have the Watson fences in front of them, which is going to slow them down just a little bit, but they're sitting on the outside of 2 different teams. H&M have great positioning here in the gunfights.
So much room, but it's being pushed up on. They cannot forget about Alter Ego for as juicy as Redeem. Look, there's another squad that will take the fight to you. H&M jumped down to the low ground. Alter Ego going to wrap on this. Nelson has got to hope that he's got enough alongside Hundreds to dissuade this push. Now H&M committing to it into the caustic gas is giving Redeem a crucial time to recover. First knock comes in. Redeem have to know that this is their chance, and Alter Ego have still plenty of health, but as I say that, Obsessed gets taken out as that third party becomes a reality. It's become a fight between 2 squads on the low ground that Alter Ego are desperately trying to disengage from, but just do not have the space to do. Redeem end up picking up at least 2 knocks now and are trying to transition those into kill. Wraith portals are difficult to work with, and as Ack gets chunked down, has no shield, we're down to 2 squads, and Redeem are going to take the win, surely, as Alter Ego have ended up leaving us.
Redeem doing an excellent job of cutting off the exit points and taking down 1, and eventually they come out with the win. Redeem finishing 2nd place in game number 1, but redeeming themselves here in game 2 by stealing that number 1 spot. That's really gonna shake up the leaderboard.
That was an excellent way to play the end game as well. Just perfect balance, I think, from all of those squads, with the exception of a very, what would have otherwise seemed like an inconsequential commitment had those teams not been so good. We had a fight go on that brought enough attention away from Redeem to net them a victory, but it looked close for a second there. If that Watson ult that you called out hadn't existed, they'd be dead.
I agree with you. I mean, all those players were absolutely cracked, and they didn't have any time to heal at the moment. Then that Watson ult comes in and gets so much value, and eventually they're able to pull off the win because of it. We're going to find out what happens with the scoreboard, but in order to do that, we got to crunch some of these numbers. So we're going to go on a short intermission, and when we come back, we're going to have even more Series E action for you.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. With the bars and the breaks, I'm talking one chance, I was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Redeem close out game number 2 with the win. Another squad that I certainly have my eye on here in the qualifiers. A couple of Series E veterans on the team there, and they showed up really well, honestly, in those late circles and close out game 2 with a W. Let's check out our player of the game. And I do want to really fast say, throwing it back to game number 1, we did have a little bug there with our player of the game graphic. It was, in fact, Box T who got player of the game for game number 1. So I wanted to make sure that Box T got the credit that they deserved, and we got it all fixed up. Because guess what? Joey Blackout, one of those Series E veterans that I was talking about here, is taking player of the game for number 2. 6 kills and 5 assists and 2,800 damage there on the Gibby. Of course, if you remember back to Season 2, was competing on Team Cheese back in those days. Has taken a couple of seasons off, but looking to get back in on the action here in Season 5, paired up with Z Davis and a new squad here, and they're looking solid so far, at least on the first night of qualifiers. Of course, you've got to be solid all throughout the qualifiers here. 4 nights of play, important, but at the very least, a solid start for the team and a big win there for Redeem. We're going to a break right now. When we come back, we've got game 3 of 5 on deck, so don't go far.
Right into the leaderboard, yeah?
Once again with Series E Season 5, a semi-professional league brought to you by gamers for gamers. You know, we're just a bunch of gamers that just want to have fun here and put on production for you guys at home and give a place for the competitors as well to earn themselves a little bit of a salary and be able to compete with some of the best. 2 games down, 3 more to go. Dia, how have you been enjoying the action so far?
It has been top tier. Why not? Seeing these teams look really good. Let's see how good they looked. Of course, Mobile One leaderboard is prepped and ready to go, and it's the one place that we can rely on to see who's on top. Optimal Ambition with a win in game 1. Redeem with a win in game 2 that rockets them to the forefront. 43 points.
Redeem were literally down by 8 points behind Optimal Ambition, but a big win is going to give them a big leap in the standings. And now we're going to see Ultimate Ambition and Ultra Ego and Likes of the Boys try to claw their way back into it as they really put some separation here.
Let's take a look at that Mobile One high performance moment, see if we can't get a little bit more insight into how exactly Redeem came out on top. Because, well, that was a crazy ending. This thermal station had you going off, why not?
It really did. I just love the way they played it. Excellent shots, use of the opponent's bubble, flying up high to take as little damage as possible, and eventually GNR just using good fundamentals. These are fundamentals you could take into Apex, Call of Duty, Halo. Doesn't matter what first-person shooter you were playing. If you are playing as a team, if you are playing your cover, playing the environment, and being a tough kill, you will always find success in any shooter. So excellently played by GNR. Sadly, they did end up obviously not getting away with the win, but it was a really clean wipe out of them.
And the likelihood is that we're going to see this 50-50 again. GNR and Most Hated have been meeting up every single game inside of Thermal Station, and that's something that I think we can both really look forward to, is this promise of repeated action. It's actually been the south end of the map that is the most hotly contested. Places like Thermal and Staging that, I want to say, normally end up getting left alone for the most part, now are really starting to get some attention, and I've liked the two different looks that we've seen out of both squads. Most Hated have looked good with their control of the high ground. They're very fast-paced fights, but once we got into a situation like this, where GNR were on the retreat, they were the ones in control.
And as Star Wars has taught us, high ground is everything. So we're going to see if they can get a hold of that high ground again and win that 50-50 gunfight over towards Thermal Station. We are dropping in once again here. This is going to be game number 3 of 5, and of course, it's got to be on World's Edge.
Hell yeah, we're going to be sticking around on World's Edge all day. And so with this one and then 2 games following, it's just going to be a refinement of these playstyles. Redeem getting so much of Fragment to themselves, starting off in Fragment West. Looked so good last game and starting things off right. They've already got the ring scan even for the next zone. Seems like we're pulling over into Landslide. Why not?
And we're seeing Redeem keep that same exact composition. We've seen what they can do with the Watson, one of the only Watsons that we have in the lobby, and they're going to continue. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. But GNR right now getting broken here. End up losing Call Me Z, and looks like Highlight is going to join them. That's going to leave Neg by himself. And I don't mean to be negative, but GNR are really in trouble.
Yeah, playing quietly right now is the best shot that you're going to have. Mar actually has time to go for a finisher, but Neg just wants to survive. Crates left unlooted as you've got to go for the rat strats. Only 2 clips for Neg. We'll see if he's discovered or if Most Hated end up leaving the POI with speed. Remember, if they Valk out of here, they'll have an option. And coming around the corner, there it is. Flatline starting to beam here. Nice turnaround from Mar. Gets a nice crack. Whips out the Peacekeeper to find Flesh and does just enough work to make eliminating GNR easy.
Yeah, although Mar ended up going down in that situation, that player was ratting out and did get the first few shots on him, but Mar was able to do enough damage to bring him down to about 1 shot and trust his teammates to come in. Easy cleanups there. Mar is back on the map, and Most Hated are going to get themselves a nice reward. That's going to be all of Thermal Station to loot up.
You're calling this out right now. 100 on Bang just turned things around. We've seen them on the back foot twice now in Staging, but Apathy is able to pick up a kill, and now it's a 3 versus 2 in their favor. We are seeing constant action that is evidently continuing to be unpredictable as 100 on Bang now are hunting for even more kills, surrounding and perhaps even closing out on another squad in front of them. Apathy's going to be running up on this. Does have that Wraith Q for the reposition should it be necessary, but you cannot overextend too far without the squad.
The definition of apathy is a lack of feeling, a lack of emotion, and that was perfect for him because he does not care about his opponents. He is running through them and putting the shotties to the bodies, able to take down 1. Meanwhile, CDE coming in, and CDE are absolutely looted up. You have RE45 and a boat check in the hands of our Loba player, but more importantly, you have that gold shield, escape with the purple, and even Nick with blue. They are fully loaded and ready to fend off Apathy and the boys.
So much more effective HP than just really anyone else at this point. Redeem trying to contest them for that. We're actually going to be fighting over in Fragment, but not committing to it just yet. They do have a rotation to make, but plenty of time within which to do it, and hoping that Redeem are going to be able to show us something special here, as they have not set up with the Watson, but it would be really cool to see them take a fight a little bit earlier on. Perhaps Joey Blackout showing us some of those moves that earned him the MVP.
Redeem definitely coming out big, 43 points after just 2 games. They're definitely poised to take the #1 spot, but there's plenty of players and plenty of teams that want it as well. Synergy right outside of them, over towards Fragment East, moving over to the west side. They see the craft that comes in. It's a giant beacon, and they want to get involved. Early Watson fence coming in, but that's not going to slow down our Valkyrie player. Urel able to take down one, and beautiful weight man shot just like that. Redeem going down in just 14th place.
I actually can't believe it. I cannot believe that Synergy were able to pull that off. A variety of talent all mashed together now have themselves a great start and have equalized the lobby for everyone else. I want every single team in this lobby to be PayPaling them after this, because to have reduced the lead that Redeem had by that much, a 0-point game they end up leaving us with, now opens up the rest of the lobby so that it's anyone's game.
Yeah, Optimal Ambition, Void, you guys definitely have to send an invoice over them, because you got to pay them. You got to give them the due, because they're going to be able to catch up to this lead here. We see where that circle is moving in over towards the center-wise. ABW, though, sit on the outside looking in. They're going to have to make it out of the situation if they want to stay in the center of circle here on Countdown.
With Destroys up on top, high ground is good, but pushing up over towards the north end of Countdown is extremely difficult. I do not envy the position of ABW, and when you see a lot of teams there try and play for placement, it is risky. You want to wait for a third-party opportunity to try and exit. Void, in the meanwhile, do not have exactly the same conundrums, though they've got very different problems. Ghost, the 6 is running a little bit low on the HP, and while they're backing off to the high ground, Void aren't going to be committing to a fight just yet, especially with Blitz trying to hold down their back end.
Really surprised we're actually seeing Ashe being played here on World's Edge. I'm still a big fan of that Wraith being in every composition. I think on World's Edge, I love me some Wraith, where maybe on a map like Storm Point, I didn't get really big value out of Ashe Void surrounding their opponents, waiting to collapse on here. They're just trying to find that information, and eventually they will be pushing forward, but that charge rifle will be a nuisance to Void.
Well, Burton's got the high ground for right now. Any contests inside of Landslide will go their way, but we've talked about the reduced spawn rates of shield cells, of sustain, and with the fact that they don't have a Loba, no access either to the vault. Sustain is something that there's just not really that much access to in Landslide. I'd like to see Void relocate for right now, find themselves a little bit more cover, and get a little bit more active of a position in the ring, because even if you do win a fight from the top of Landslide, chances are you're going to be third party from someone coming from Fragment, someone coming from Harvester, someone coming from Countdown, or someone coming from staging. There's just no way out.
You heard it here first, folks. Diaz says that every composition should include a Loba, and I am going to have to agree with that. Alter Ego exiting towards the backside of Countdown. Looks like they're going to try to make their way over. Now, they got to be careful. There's a team gatekeeping, or at least that was gatekeeping over towards Landslide. I wonder if they're still there, because that will be a problem for Alter Ego.
They were one of the teams that had a pretty slow start today, picking up only 2 points in the first game. But after a big turnaround last game where they ended up making it close to the top of the lobby, Alter Ego may very well be contending for a top spot by the end of the day. This is our third game, of course, and we'll be entering the final 2 after this. The final 2 opportunities for you to really accrue any momentum in the very first qualifier, at the very end of which there are 3 spots available, 3 sponsored positions in the Series E regular season.
Excellent place nade coming out of Fragment, going to force them to reposition over towards the trailer, but those trailers are so tough to deal with. We do see Void having the high ground over here towards Landslide. Not the most popular place to fight, but you can really hold some teams out, and it looks like their opponents are finding out just that. Meanwhile, Synergy able to take down the #1 team after 2 games, getting to yet another engagement. That might have been a stick with the Arc Star popping for 60, and that's exactly what they need to get aggressive, taking down BLM, but they are not out of the water just yet. You are seeing another team start to push forward via the Bloodhound scan coming out of Synergy.
Really, really clean push. I loved it. The instant pings. As soon as Arcstar stuck, Uriel, I swear, pinged, I'm going here at least 8 times. And the rest of the team followed up lickety-split. It's what gives them the opportunity to reset so quickly. It's what saves them from the third party and puts them in an amazing position. In a ring like this, Synergy have what is often considered one of the possible god spots. When we're considering where rings can pull, it can go over to Landslide, Sniper Tower, or Countdown. And if it pulls over towards Countdown, this is the easiest possible position to win a game from.
Synergy was in the number 9 spot after 2 games, but they've really come to find their own here in game number 3. Again, taking down the number 1 team, Redeem, and they're continuing to go forward. We actually have our kill leader being Urel, our Valkyrie, out of Synergy. So Synergy looking to fight for those top spots. Meanwhile, Titus Esports still having a little ways to fight forward if they want to grind in for the number 1 spot. They're going to rotate over towards the edge of the circle, which I'm not mad at whatsoever. Lots of aggressive teams that are confident in their fighting position or their fighting capabilities are going to do just that and position themselves exactly the way Titus Esports are doing now.
Yeah, your really best shot at the moment is to find a fight around the edge on a rotating team coming from, I was going to say, coming from Countdown, but I suppose not, as we've actually got people coming in from Hot Springs and Titus Esports with a very little gap close here. We're going to have a difficult time making their way over to this building. They do not have the portal available, and oh my god, what is happening? Speaking of things we've got available, we have a Pathfinder Crypto Horizon squad running around.
Oh, you didn't? That's the new meta. You didn't know? That's the new meta right there. Let me tell you, Crypto and Pathfinder, they go hand in hand.
Is this Timmy, bro? Like, this is the only person that I've seen run Pathfinder in competitive, and now Arcto's making me rethink that statement. Little Raisin and Ziffer alongside him have the opportunity to make some waves here, but they don't have anybody with Fortified. They don't have any defensive legends, and well, we'll see how it ends up working out for them. If they can stay on the front foot, though, this squad will roll you, man. It'll roll.
I will say, I do like how aggressive this squad can be, especially when you have that EMP coming in out of Crypto, and then with the Horizon ult coming in, Pathfinder could really close the distance, so there's definitely some capability to get aggressive on teams, and I'm going to be really excited to see how far they go. Meanwhile, Synergy is the team of the game right now. They're pulling up the rear from 9th place, still holding on to the kill leader, and now they're just waiting for any teams to try to push up on them here in Countdown. They're comfortably in the circle right now, and they're going for number 1 spot. I'm rooting for these boys.
We got about 10 seconds until we find out whether they're in the game-winning spot or just an amazing one, with Most Hated starting to back up inside of staging. They're the ones that have got to worry as well. Round 2 is going to start hurting, and it's risky to take fights out in zone like this. Most Hated want to try and play that edge game perfectly after having suffered an unfortunate defeat last time around. They got themselves off to the right start. 3 points already secured, but Base Stoll has got to pop a heal real quick. Syringe not going to be in time. They're committing to a res unless he gets inside the ring, but it's right into Alter Ego. It is disastrous for Most Hated, as now Caustic Gas is ticking. It's right back into zone, and your health simply cannot sustain this.
With how aggressive Most Hated were playing over toward the zone, I had assumed that they did enough scouting to realize that they isolated this 3v3, but little did we know, they ended up running right into the hands of Ultra Ego. And Ultra is sitting like, we'll enjoy this free KP as yet another team is coming in. And I believe Ultra Ego might be aware of it. There's a squad that's trying to make it in. Shots are starting to ring out. Polar Bear immediately scaring 1, scaring 2 away. Realm Royale are running into a situation after situation, and they have to try to find their way into some safety here.
Now they've managed to escape staging with their lives. A big concern compositionally has to be making your way through this tunnel, because you are in a small, enclosed space with very little effective HP to work with and no reset button. Synergy are taking a fight. What on earth am I watching right now? Why not? These guys, they know that they're in a position to win the game, and they are willing to throw it all away because they want more kills. If this works for them, Synergy are just gapping the entire lobby this game.
That they are, and I am not mad at it whatsoever. Get your KP, get your placing points. It's all going to come over toward the leaderboard. But whatever you do, do not go down.
Big bombardment.
Defensive bombardment coming in for Synergy as they're looking to back away and catch a different angle. Look at the hit markers coming in, but some of it on the caustic canisters, not the actual opponents there, but they're able to regain, they're able to reposition, and they're once again holding this team back.
And now they've burned barrels and caustic gas out of the team in front of them. No Nox gas grenade available. Better angles for Synergy. The charged rifle is denying them so much, but they hunger for these kills, and Krizik goes low for them, dropping down to 50 HP. Now needs backup from the rest of the squad. Excellent cracks from Flux as he finds the first knock. Nobu ends up going down. A quick reload from Flux. Some quick healing from Krizik, and they should have this fight as Synergy end up taking out ABW.
And even the team from across the map with the charge rifle absolutely griefing Synergy from across the map wasn't enough to stop them from coming in yet again. Synergy are wiping team after team, and I am absolutely here for it, but we are not done yet. CDE coming into the fray. They're in yet another battle. Both of these teams try to make it into the circle safely, but they are both firing off shots left and right, and we just see the defensive bombardment being activated here as CDE are still hunting down their prey.
See if they're able to make it in. That Nox gas grenade is buying a lot of time for the squad inside of this RV. Excellent reposition from Carlon, unpunished so far, able to turn around, and even though they've lost one, Nick Sticks is gonna have to wait till after this fight where Carlon might just clutch it up. We've got a third party coming in though. Of course it's Synergy. Why not? As they roll up, continuing their rampage in these qualifiers. That's one down and plenty to go as CDE end up going out. We've got a new kill leader in the lobby. Synergy are going wild.
There are no brakes on this train. It simply goes forward and it does not stop. Triple reds coming out of Synergy. 5 kills and 3 assists, and that's just coming out of Krizik. That's not the whole team. That's just coming out of Krizik, but they got to be careful. Void sitting over towards Landslide. Kraber in hands. They have perfect sights on them, but looks like there's another team trying to come over towards the west, and Void are very well aware of it.
One of the biggest changes that we have to acknowledge coming into this season was the change to the Kraber. No longer a guaranteed kill on a headshot, unless you've got, I was going to say, a very low helmet, which shouldn't be the case for most of these squads. We're going to find out, though. Six is going to test his luck, because especially if you're third-partying someone, this Kraber is going to be a deadly weapon.
A team coming out with the Valkyrie Skyward Dive, able to take that ultimate height towards Landslide. I'm not even sure who exactly that team is. Ashtak gonna come in, get a little bit of cheeky damage, but obviously that's not enough to really make waves. So now we see Void potentially staring down the barrel of 2 different teams, looking to ice them out. Void playing that edge of circle right now, but eventually they will have to fight, and yet another team coming in from the skies, looking to grief.
Remember that you cannot oob in this case. The only space left for this squad to play is in the RV, actually playing the outside of Landslide right now. Six has got an angle on them with this Kraber. 3 shots left for the moment. 1 crack and a quick beam with the Havoc will do it. You're starting to pay attention to the top right now. Excellent headshot. It's just the shield broken for the moment. Laying down damage from afar. Six is going to be able to reset with this. Turning around, not quite finding the body, but still doing excellent work, keeping 2 different squads at bay.
Ooh, and another one. Like my man Diaz Analytics, this man just don't miss. Six putting in another body shot, just ripping apart the enemy team, forcing to play that early bubble. Void staring, like I said, staring down the barrel, 2 different teams, but they are fighting them so well. The defense coming out of Void is masterful, and they're still alive and kicking.
Great placement on the trap for Six. Spots someone coming over the wall, but he is solo holding this angle. Now able to turn around with a thermite in his back pocket. Blitz was taken low, but Six finds a knock onto Mitten, who was just too low. Cracks another with the Kraber and just keeps on rolling. Apathy now down. It's been so much damage put out by Six in the past couple minutes, and he's going to turn it into even more. Excellent turning on the quick scope, and it's time to whip out this Havoc for the close range engagement. Void are ready to finish off these kills.
The teams of the game so far have been Void and Synergy. Number 8 and number 9 teams going into this 3rd game have really warmed up, have really found their owner, absolutely going off that player here over towards the trailer, all the way in the corner, having no kind of cover but just that loot box. And it looks like Void, this is not the fight they want to take, so they're catching a totally different angle, potentially going in for that flank. The Q comes in, that's going to be 20 damage, but they have not collapsed on it. Still 8 squads on the map, 22 players. As I say that, though, 100 on Bang goes down.
Last chance for Dig there, wasn't quite able to survive. But they did make it into top 8, though I think a lot like last time, so placement points are still coming in for the squad. Points that, as we've said before, they will be able to hold on to. As Alter Ego hold this high ground, however, we've got to consider how they're going to end up playing out this end game, as the high ground will be denied to them very soon. They don't have a whole lot of access to anything outside of jumping onto this crane, very exposed from multiple angles. Alter Ego, we could see them in a very risky position, despite how good they look right now.
And I believe the squad they're actually fighting out is the Red Hot Synergy, who are able to find a position, but it looks like Alter Ego ends up dropping right into the bubble and right into the ultimate, taking down one almost immediately. What a drop and what a play coming out of Alter Ego, but they're in the middle of all the action. It looks like Synergy ends up going down. So does Titus Esports, but Alter Ego are trying to steal away this trailer position. Couple canisters in their way. They're trying to drop their own and also trying to deal with it. 5 squads, and there's just no real estate for all of them. Alter Ego are trying to break through, and just like that, Void will deal with them.
They're the ones taking the angles right now. Void have played this end game with perfection. Moving into the top 4 squads. Now they've got to keep this going. They've done such a good job of juggling aggression from squads, taking as much space as possible in the high ground and making Landslide work for them. Now finally getting rid of the Kraber with few enough shots. We'll see how much further Six can push this squad. When I saw him picked up by this team, I was like, oh, all right, we're going to get some crazy shot calls. I see. It looks like we're getting just some crazy frags. That's what Six is really bringing to the squad right now.
Everybody looting up, everybody making sure they pop their ultimate accelerants, because we are getting ready for the final battle here. Final round is going to be closing in. Tab Strafers on the outside looking in towards that edge of circle. They're going to have to grind forward. You're starting to move from cover to cover, but their canisters are getting shot down. They're getting griefed by Void, sitting in that high ground and making sure they cannot get into the inner circle easily. Like you said, Void have been playing this final end game masterfully, and I'm loving their chances of coming out with the #1 spot.
All red Evos right now. Their biggest threat, Optimal Ambition on the other side. Great heads up. Keeping an eye out from Burton, making sure that this squad doesn't get away with anything for free, but tempted by the thought of free kills. There are rockets to be found to your team all out in the open. We'll see if Void are able to take them down. Great bubble, buys them a little bit more time, and patience has to be the name of the game. Optimal Ambition managed to heal up on the other side. Haven't used their bubble yet, but down it goes. And once this expires, there is no safety in the center of the zone. Void are surrounding, Void are committing, and right below them, we've got another squad waiting to go down. Tap Strafers end up being eliminated. We've got 3 squads left, but Void end up dropping their own bubble. No cooldown for them now. Nades up in the sky, gets taken down. 1 member left for Optimal Ambition. Boxity, our MVP from game 1, is out, and Void control the high ground. Void control the game. Void are going to end up taking this one with so many angles. They are the winners of game 3.
Void absolutely showing that positioning wins games. They were playing chess and everybody else simply playing checkers. Big plays coming out of Void, and that is really going to stir things up onto the leaderboard. They were sitting in that #8 or #9 spot. We did see Redeem go down very early, and that opened up so much opportunities for everybody to start to catch up. This tournament is not done for yet.
No, I mean, Void and Synergy had huge games there, and even though Synergy didn't even make top 4, with the amount of kills that they got, it genuinely may not have mattered. I look forward to seeing, of course, on the other side of this, how our Mobile 1 leaderboards look, but before that, we're going to take a very short break.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin. Game over for headaches.
We're gonna do it in 3, 2, 1.
Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the skin. The true smile trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the breaks. I'm talking one chance that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Let's go.
Game number 3 was Void's turn at the top of the table as they grab a victory there. So we have 3 different winners through the first 3 games and only 2 left here tonight to decide who will be, at the very least, in the lead for our qualifiers with 1 night in the books. So let's check out our third player of the game here for tonight's competition here. We, of course, had Box OT, and now it's going to be Blitz here. 5 kills and an assist at over 2,500 damage. That's back-to-back Gibbies here showing up in player of the game with a whole hell of a lot of damage there between those 2 players. So well played from both, and Blitz grabs the honors this time around in a solid game there for Void. I believe Redeem still maybe sitting at the top of the standings. They didn't have the greatest of games in Game 3, but they still were able to have a very strong start through the first 2 and should be feeling comfortable, but need to take care of business in these final 2 games if they want to come out in first place at the end of tonight. So we'll see what they can do. Now, Dia and Why Not are ready to go and ready to get us into this next game. So I'm going to hand it over to them. Gentlemen, how we doing? Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to get into yet another game here. We have 5 total, and as of right now, this is the turning point in this tournament. This is where we're going to see who's able to come out on top and stay towards that left side of the bracket here, stay towards the left side of that leaderboard and climb their way in. Why don't we take a look at that Mobile 1 leaderboard, Dia?
Let's do Redeem. Oh my lord, somehow able to retain their top spot. 44 points to the 41 of Optimal Ambition, and it's a close race at the top, but Void are starting to catch up. To see which of them took our hearts in the last game, I want to take a look at the Mobile 1 high performance moment when we've got a second, and see who ended up coming out on top of that. Redeem did look pretty good up until then, but there were so many times that we saw other teams start to take the lead. Teams like Void, teams like Synergy, and here Void looked so good.
Yeah, luckily Redeem was able to put 43 points on the board after 2 games, because that third game they were only able to put 1 in. Still enough to hold on to that number 1 spot, but plenty of other teams were able to close the gap on them. They're going to have a really big game 4.
Amazing presence of mind by Void in this game to be able to manage so many squads. We saw it not only in this end game, but approaching the end game as well, when we were, I believe it was on ring number 5, and they were trying to juggle both the squad on the low ground and on the high ground. You remember when 6 had the crab, everyone was running around shooting everyone in the face? Yeah, that bit.
Yeah, like you said it before, Void really played incredible defense and really defended that spot all the way to the final engagement, and positioning is what net them that big win. And now the question is, can they do it again? This is game 4. We still have game 5 ahead of us. If Void want to climb in and steal the number 1 spot, consistency is going to have to be the key. You can't just have these one-off games where you're popping off. You have to continue to put points on the board, and I truly believe Void can do just that.
I think one of the really compelling things about a team like Void is that they are driven not just to succeed because they would like to be professionally sponsored gamers and make a living, but because they really truly strive to be the best in Apex Legends. I know that we had them competing in the LCQs recently, and with that performance, with the fact that they've picked up 6, this is a squad that is incredibly motivated to be able to have the opportunity, like I said, to compete against the highest level of teams, as that's what they offer over at Series E, over here at Esports Arena, is on a week in and week out basis the chance to compete with the top, and that's really what Void are in it for. You can tell right here.
Well, they're sitting the number 3 spot, still 10 points behind Optimal Ambition in that number 2 spot, who's 3 points behind Redeem. We also don't want to forget about Alter Ego, because I really thought Alter Ego played that game 3 very well, and I still think they're very much in the running. Redeem will most likely have a big game coming in. I have a feeling they're coming out with absolute vengeance. They want to come out with that, at least a top 3 finish in this one, and they're going to need to do just that if they want to hold on to that 1 spot.
I mean, I'm looking at Synergy going into this game as well, because holy moly, those guys were frying. Had they been able to convert into an end game, I have no doubt that we would have seen full send after full send, because the kills are the way that they have clearly decided that they're going to end up winning not just the day, these games, and ideally their sponsorship spot at the very end of it all. This was a squad that was incredibly aggressive, and I want to see that replicated going into our 4th game of the day, as you've only got 2 more to start picking up these points, and after that you're going to have to wait till tomorrow, where a lot of these teams will take the risk that they may not qualify to the finals again.
You know, it's funny you mentioned, I'm glad you mentioned Synergy, because the way they were looking, the way they were able to put points on the board, I would have expected them to be in at least the top 3, but they're actually sitting right now in the 6th spot, 4 points away from Realm Royale. And although we haven't seen Realm Royale too much on screen, the little time we did, we've seen nothing but consistency, and they've been able to put consistent points on the board, making it towards the end game, matching a bit of kill points, and they're poised to make a little bit of a run as well, as we finally have game number 4 ready, dropping in here on World's Edge once again.
All right, well, let's take a look at it. Let's see how this one ends up breaking down. We've, of course, had 3 very different circles, one over at Geyser, one at Harvester, one at Landslide. And if we continue getting this amount of variety, we're going to continue to get the same amount of variety, of course, of winners. You can only imagine, as everybody's more or less hit their drop spots, we are, of course, naturally going to be taking our look down towards Thermal Station to see who comes out on top of the GNR versus Most Hated rivalry. But in the meantime, Void are having a good time.
That they are Void landing over towards Harvester, and no wonder why they were poised to be ready for that end game. You get a plenty of loot over here, and I believe they even have access over towards a crafter, which I'm sure they're going to be taking advantage of. And it looks like looting it up left and right, get himself a car, and a little bit of R99 action here for Blitz. But yeah, I'm really wondering what's happened with that 50-50 over towards Thermal Station, because that's been really the battle to look out for.
One of the advantages that Void will have in this game is that, like many games, they have a beacon spawn over at Harvester, just off to the western side of it, and having gotten that second ring information really early, it allows them to make these calls really early as to what sorts of spots they want to play in the end game, where they think this zone is going to end. And take a look at it. We've got a ring that's pulling us over towards Lava Siphon. We'll have to take a look at the map a little bit later, however, as Redeem are already in another fight. We can assume with Synergy that we do not have confirmation just yet. At the moment, it's Forced Act to heal up on the low ground, although Mobile on the Valkyrie, it's not the end of the world just yet. Just a little bit of poke. Friendly.
The #1 team looking to put more than 1 point on the board here for game number 4, landing Fragment East once again. Now rotating over towards that west side to continue to loot up. They still only have one player currently with blue armor, and I'm sure they want to get that up there so they're ready for their next fight. 48 players still on the map right now, and things getting very quiet here in game 4.
It really is. I'm surprised that we haven't seen that contest go down at Thermal, and I've got to wonder which of those two teams relocated, whether it was GNR or Most Hated that decided to avoid the 50-50. It appears that it was GNR, but they have not forfeited early action, that's for sure. As we tune in with them, they are already in a fight, and it's over by trees, so they've stayed south.
GNR grinding forward. Valkyrie looking to take height immediately, going down to one shot. Gonna have to play a couple of cells. Meanwhile, his team just scaring that team off. Get off of my lawn, says GNR. Buying enough time for Highlight, most likely to take a cell, but they gotta watch out. Frags are coming in, and so is their opposition.
Nice looking out for the nades. GNR managed to avoid a lot of the entry frag damage, but still, with so many angles on them now, they've got to start grouping up. They do have the dome on cooldown, 9 seconds left, but managed to make their great escape without suffering too much damage on the outset. If they can continue this, if they can mosey their way on out of this engagement, I think all the better for them, because clearly, with their shielding, I don't think there's any reason for them to be too confident in taking a 3 versus 3 right now.
Call Me Z quickly grabbing the 2x4 and throwing it on the 30-30, and more importantly, dropping the bruiser for one of his teammates, most likely to go onto the flatline or maybe even an R301 if they're able to craft one of those up. Round number 1, Hill is falling in, and here comes Synergy, one of the teams of last game, immediately getting the knock onto one. Looks like a second one as well as Urel, now hunting down our third and final player for this roster. Run, Gibby, run.
Alter Ego are not happy right now, but Krizik, look at him. He's sprinting it forward on the hunt. It's going to be Synergy, surely, picking up another kill after this. Footprints are in, but you don't even need them anymore. Highlighted in red, Krizik, that's all he sees. Finding flesh, turning the corner, and finding a kill. Alter Ego, go out.
Sadly for Alter Ego, another squad that's been really wreaking havoc on the tournament is going to drop in 16th place, and that's not going to be enough to cut the mustard. Synergy, like you said before, that ultra-aggressive playstyle. They have found a home with taking these 3v3 gunfights. They're very confident in their gun skill, and they've been coming out on top.
Now that they've been rotating over to Landslide, they'll have the opportunity to stabilize for just a little bit and maybe make their way, I assume, over to Countdown. They could absorb teams, however, that want to try and come in and contest them over here because, well, we've still got plenty of squads that need to make their way into a relatively far eastern ring. We are considering, of course, how our players are managing this game, as we've had a few perhaps disconnecting. So we're going to pop over to our faces and see what the call is.
Yeah, it's going to be really important for us to make sure that that every player is having a fair chance, and when multiple players are falling out of the lobby and things are crashing, that's obviously not what we want to have for either of these competitors, and that's not the way they want to win either. So we're going to restart that game most likely, as we did force a close. But man, Synergy looking just as good as they did in game number 3 there in game 4, really coming out on top.
I like that they were able to keep that momentum going, right? Turn it into yet another squad wipe and onto Alter Ego, no less. I'm surprised, I will say, by the way that Alter Ego have been playing this as well, because, well, we all know that they were going to take this seriously. Teams like Alter Ego and Optimal Ambition are known for experimenting, are known for, you know, sometimes pulling out things like the Mirage, sometimes pulling out things like the Seer, like the Watson. And the fact that Alter Ego are playing things very standard right now, I think speaks to a level of respect that they have for the lobby and consistency that they need to maintain within themselves. It's not so much about forcing others into mistakes with unknown variables, it's about making sure that your gameplay stays the same every time in the midst of all this chaos.
And one team whose gameplay has been staying the same would have to be Void. Void have been able to be consistent in keeping that number 3 spot, where other teams, you know, such as Redeem, they've had big swings in one game, but like we saw the last game, only able to put up 1 point. We're going to find out how many points they're able to put up and add to their number 1 spot. But while we're waiting, let's send it over to Yeso, have him break down some of the action, and also tell us a little bit more about Series E.
So just want to give everybody at home a quick update on what's going on. Dealing with some server issues, players disconnecting, and of course, you know, that is not an issue that we want to see. We want the players to be able to get in, play, put up the points that they want to, and be able to compete here tonight. So right now, our TO's trying to figure out exactly what's going on, trying to get the players back into the lobby. So right now, we are working on resolving that issue. Right now, we're going to go to a quick break while our staff works on that, but we will be back very soon. So please stick around, folks. We'll be back with more Series E in a little bit.
For nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
What's up, guys? Tyler Endress, CEO and founder of Esports Arena. And did you know that Esports Arena is located inside Walmarts all throughout the country? We're here in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now at one of our awesome Walmart stores. Let's go take a look. Fantastic, right? So typically in the front of the store, you see we've got a Subway here, you got some Walmart services, but right there is the Tulsa Esports Arena. Right up front. So literally, if you're just doing some grocery shopping, you're gonna check out over here. Simple as that. Or you could check out right in here. We've got Calvin, my man Calvin right here. Hey, yo, log me in on station number 8.
You got it, Tyler.
All right, I'm getting logged in. We're gonna go play some video games. Look at that. The best video cards in the industry, the best CPUs in the industry, the best gaming chairs in the industry, the best Razer peripherals in the industry, the best monitors that let you hit that 200 frames per second in the industry, no screen tearing whatsoever. All right here at Esports Arena. Now I'd let you keep following me along, but I got a tournament to play tonight, so I'm gonna get some practicing.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the skin. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. With the bars and the breaks, I'm talking one chance that was so close for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Now, even the biggest headaches are toast.
Excedrin keeps your head in the game.
For no more throbbing noggins.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
One shot, now the future is yours. Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the skin. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. Now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. With the bars and the breaks, I'm talking one chance that was so close for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Take your life away, we the third party. Yeah, we all in, all in. Yeah, we mobbing down the hill and they falling, they falling. I'm looting up they squad, yeah, they balling, I'm balling. I told you we would get it, yeah, I called it, I called it. We keep on queuing up, we just can't get enough. These wins are stacking up, my ops like a lake, yeah, they spotted up. We know when to run, we know when to fry. We turning, we burning, we leaving the house to die. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Golden light mag, leave your body in a bag. Was a 3-1, but it was a 1v3, bet you mad. Rolling round a circle like a private lobby. They gon' need a third, fourth, fifth party if they wanna stop me. Call me the meta man, they copy when they can, they just don't understand. I got this mastiff and I'm ripping up your plans. I ain't let it slam. My bullets blood, you open up the dam. Everything I do, this the way I am. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Yeah, we all in, all in. Yeah, we mobbing down the hill and they falling, they falling. I'm looting up they squad, yeah, they balling, I'm balling. I told you we would get it, yeah, I called it, I called it. We keep on queuing up, run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. We're going left, I need you by my side. We're going left, while you're always on the right. Don't decide, I just need you to barely try. Know I fry, I just need you to not die. There's one left, I need you to win this fight. You should've rested, we lose like this every time. Go ahead and cry, you're not getting better. This isn't fine, we can't play together. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. And tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. Going left, I need you by my side. Going left, while you're always on the right. Don't decide, I just need you to barely try. Know I fry, I just need you to not die. There's one left, I need you to win this fight. You should've rested, we lose like this every time. Go ahead and cry, you're not getting better. This isn't fine, we can't play together. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see. Tell me, where are you looking? There's no way that you cannot see what I see.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true sign trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. With the bars and the breaks, I'm talking one chance that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Eccentric. I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
gonna do it in 3, 2, 1.
nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
What's up, maidens and maidenless? Welcome back to Series E, where we've got even more qualifier action for you. I'm still Dia. I still got Why Not by my side, but things have changed, Why Not? Things have undergone a serious change, because from a qualifier, where we would have had 5 matches today, we are jumping it down to 4. Match 4 that you saw maybe 5 minutes ago is now void, and we'll be going into the 5th match of the day with 4 pointed matches overall. Does that make sense? Why not?
It definitely doesn't. Sadly, sadly there was some issues going on with that game number 4, so we had no choice but to avoid it. However, for timing purposes, we don't want to make these guys play 2 more games. I know it's getting late here on the East Coast. It's about 12:30 in the morning, and at that point, once it's 1 o'clock in the morning, nobody's playing at their best. So we're gonna bring it down just 1 more game. This is going to be it. Do or die.
Now, you did talk about how it was getting late for some folks, so as a result, we have a significantly reduced amount of teams for this final game. We're going to be starting off with 13 squads, which should, and I say should, mean that we have a lot of time to talk, but it depends on how these guys end up approaching it, because we've seen, we've seen some solo queue games end up going pretty darn quickly. Let's find out what we get here. Tap Strafers seem to already be in an engagement, so maybe we won't get time to chat after all.
Yeah, somehow with the reduced amount of games, we still find ourselves in a 50-50, and Tap Strafers find themselves down a player, actually down 2, and it's Blake is gonna be by himself. GNR looking for the final player, and looks like the Gibby has been spotted. One ends up going down, so it looks like he might have been able to take down Highlight, and GNR getting their final player back into the action here. Tap Strafers, we're gonna be eliminated. We're down to 12 squads, 36 players on the map.
All right, well, let's see who can find him first. It feels like a big game of hide and seek, but GNR, by swapping up their drop spot, ended up grabbing some H&M, or as I've been struggling not to say all night, H&M, have whipped out the Bangalore plus Newcastle plus Watson composition. If I'm honest, I don't know what the squad is meant to do ideally, but I can assure you they're having fun.
Well, the key is, you got that synergy coming out of Bangalore and Newcastle. Obviously, to my knowledge, I believe they are siblings, actually. And if you do a animation with Newcastle on Bangalore, you get a separate animation just before them with finishing. You're the one who actually sent me that clip, and I've loved every moment of it. Love the lore coming in for Apex.
It's actually very cool. I really like the niche interactions. When Ash came out, I loved listening to her interactions with Horizon as well. I wish they had. I wish we had custom finishers, but I don't know. That's something that is only in the newest of technology. Speaking of the newest of things, we've got a new fight breaking out. Synergy, I think, naturally are taking another fight.
Synergy coming out hot here. The Bloodhound scan goes in, and with all that intel, Synergy looking to get on the aggression. Flatline gonna scare away one, and Uriel actually going to cut them off.
Oh my god.
Finding the exit route, going right in after the Octane, but looks like Uriel gonna go down. Krizik luckily gonna come into the action, laying down the law with the R99. It's up to him and Flux to finish out these gunfights as a duo. That's gonna be it. Realm Royale go down, and hopefully they can get Uriel back up.
The third-party Void are coming in, and it's big initially. The cracks come through. A Thirst does get finished onto Uriel, but Void aren't done with this. They don't just want that bit of KP. They want every bit that they can grab, because this is still the qualifying match. As crazy as it's been, as wild as the day has become, you still get to hold on to these points, and every kill is worth a mountain.
It really is, guys. We're here for a reason. We're trying to find out who's going to be able to get sponsored, get themselves a monthly salary, and compete twice a week, once in an open and also once against the pros and invitation only. It's going to be absolutely insane, and all of these players are looking to become a Series E competitor. 10 squads on the map, 30 perfect players. CDE having the hype, but it looks like the nades are coming in and forcing Nick to back down immediately. And one gets hunted down. Looks like Nick able to get the down, and that's gonna leave Goat 6 right down here. CDE going in for the challenge. He's going to be finished off, but where is his teammates?
And now it's oh my god, a Rampart CDE! I'm in love with you, whipping out the Rampart. My favorite legend in the game, if only for the incredible voice lines, and now maybe a little bit more action. Did get a buff that I actually intentionally didn't bring up at the start of the broadcast because I didn't want to give myself false hope. But now, No, it's just too perfect. Rampart with the additional health on the walls and the increased rev-up speed on the Sheila might just be able to do something if Void will give him an inch of room. But from the high ground, Blitz is playing very impressively.
You actually saw a girl earlier today messing around with Rampart a bit, and she definitely seems a bit viable. I'm going to be excited to see if she makes it into comp. I mean, hey, she's already in here today. Void kind of trying to fight off the 2v3 and the Havoc getting maximum value. And it looks like Void's going to drop down, steal away the banner, and then Valkyrie going to go right back up, trying to make it almost there, but taking shots left and right, just barely able to go in. And what ends up going down is so both players down to one shot. One armor swap comes in, but Void are being hunted down.
No, C escape ended up going down. Impressive recovery from Void, though. Able to pick up their teammate and now get him back into the game. That respawn beacon real close by, giving him a helping hand. Blitz is going to be able to heal up now. Plenty of room on this Gibraltar and a great defense from Void. They have looked really good in this final game that I will say is a bit chaotic. Why not?
That it is. Early res coming in, so 6 will end up joining the party and able to get away with the loot that he just finished losing here. So 6 right back in, 29 players, so there's still actually one that was finished off here on the map, and Void still holding on to the high ground.
A solid move from them so far. 6 right back in. Is going to get to be with his team to full send this one in. Purple armors on everyone and a bubble to make sure they all land safely. This is Void styling right now as a shield break comes in. PK comes out mid-air, and while we only ding for 9, we take those because it extends the bloodlust that Void have. CDE, go out.
Sadly, CD coming. I know you're going to be upset about that, but at least they showed us what Rampart was all about for a bit. Void now having triple purple armors at the moment, and off screen, it looks like we are going to be down to 8 squads, but I'm seeing some knocks on the kill feed.
Looking good. We'll see if we get any more of them. I'm keeping my eye out. H&M are playing this one slow, not having run into anyone just yet, and continuing with the craziness. I want to see if we get some Newcastle engages, you know, putting a berry up right in their face, smoking them down, and no, it's not going to happen. But I wish it did. And we'll see how the game continues to pan out. GNR, for the most part, are starting to farm up. We've seen this position before. Void previously holding it, but no knocks on Void just yet. Means that while GNR have a power position, they can't turn it into anything because zip lines are risky things. They are fickle mistresses.
Plenty of ammo in the charge rifle here for Neg. Like you said, holding the same high ground that we saw Team Void holding before, and GNR loving every moment of it. But you do notice that this position is actually not within the circle, so in a little over 2 minutes, they will have to grind forward. There's plenty of teams that are holding them off, or, you know what? Valk ulting works too. Forget having to fight your way through all of the players on the map. Instead, just simply fly over them and get a much better positioning.
I don't even know where this ring is going. I gotta be honest with you, why not? I hadn't even recognized that we were popping over to thermal, but it's a good thing that GNR did, right? Because it puts them in a position to collect more points. Now, it's worth noting that because we started with 13 squads, every squad is collecting placement points, but for every bit further you go, you get that much more. And GNR coming out the better in that deal right now. Optimal Ambition positioning themselves in deep zone, maybe to look to get their second win of the day. Could it be?
It definitely could. Multiple teams having to rotate over towards the hill, but they have they have such a long route to make it all the way from Lava Fisher. But luckily, there's enough time here. We do see 2 teams going to fight it out over towards Thermal Station, and I believe one of them is H&M.
Yeah, this could be exciting. The other one, BP, who are currently taking out some Watson fences, but losing Bursty for it. Was it worth it? I don't know. We're soon to find out. Osif drops down to the low ground, still does keep the dream alive of being able to resurrect Bursty, but as Vampys goes down, he's popping a portal to let the rest of his team escape. H&M are having none of it. They're down on the low ground themselves, and that's a beam, that's a break, that's a knock on Osven.
Sadly, Sear wasn't able to get the intel that H&M were hunting them down, but I believe there's still one more player from that squad that's probably going to rat things out for the rest of the game here. Maybe he'll be able to wrap back for banners, and there it is. It's Vamsi who was able to portal out, and now just waiting for the right opportunity to either go for the banners or to rotate out of there and try to rat out as many points as possible. Because again, every point matters. They're going to be keeping these points going through the rest of the qualifiers.
It's reduced audio. Very helpful right now, but I love this move so much. Oh no! Wait, when we come back to them, we can be quiet for them.
Give a little moment of silence. Meanwhile, bubble action. No silence coming here. Nothing but shots. Peacekeeper ripping out one, but it looks like Zix and Boy are going to end up going down, and that's going to be it for Void G and R clearing them out. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new kill leader. His name is Highlight.
Can I just say, by the way, that GNR have turned this around? They had a middling past couple games because they were taking the 50-50, but they end up starting off a new one, taking a squad off guard, and now have taken out some of the strongest teams in the lobby. 7 squads left, but GNR are looking really good right now. They've got a barrage of loot. Red Evo's the first of the game, and they're going to start pressing towards, I assume, where Optimal Ambition are currently set up in the corner of the map. We're likely to pull a little bit more central for this one, in the middle of these loot crates between this no-name village and thermal station. But as Optimal Ambition covers as much ground as possible, they'll have the G7 from distance to make sure that no one encroaches on their territory.
I think that was a great point being made by GNR. After 3 games, they were only able to put 5 points on the board, but it looks like this game alone, they've been able to match their point total and probably almost even double it at this point. Hopefully, they can play towards the end game. Optimal Ambition going to be one of the teams in their sights, and you know, with the charge rifle and them sitting towards the edge of circle, they're going to be griefing anybody trying to make it through.
Now, because there's nobody else to challenge it out here, Optimal Ambition have a lot of open space to work with, but this can work against them. They are running the Caustic right now and aren't going to be getting maximal value out of him unless somebody starts encroaching on their territory. When there's so much open space, when there are so few teams, Optimal Ambition are going to have to rely on an end game and maybe a few cheesy Caustic barrels to actually get value out of this pick. Otherwise, they could find themselves at a severe tempo disadvantage when it arrives in this late game, because teams like H&M are going to be coming in fully looted up and with plenty of value to get out of their legends.
That they are, not only do they have the loot, but Bangalore also having the ult as well. This can really open some things up for them to get aggressive. It looks like they're not ready to commit to that angle just yet. Pings are coming in, and there is a team over toward the southeast side that they're going to have to deal with before they're able to go forward. We're going to be down to 5 squads very soon here, but that team line ain't no part of it. Going to early bubble in and try to rotate out of there.
No crack just yet, but we got darn close. Nelson will be able to encroach on this territory almost solo, but he does have the backup of his squad now with hundreds on the flank. You know you're good. You got plenty of coverage, and especially with the potential for smokes at close range and the disengage that somebody like Newcastle will provide you. H&M don't feel the necessity to hold this spot, instead wrapping back around toward the high ground, and I much prefer this call than walking into these buildings.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It looks like this was the angle that they wanted to go with to begin with, but that team was going to be a bit of a nuisance. Now that they've rotated, both of the teams had a gentleman's agreement to just separate and get over towards the circle here. 18 players on the map. H&M making it into thermal station, and Most Hated have been chilling here this whole time, normally going 3v3 with GNR in the early game. Most Hated having that ultimate high ground positioning here on thermal station.
Excellent spot for them, but terrible loot, I have to say, and it doesn't have anything to do with the shields. It's because iron sights on the Spitfire are really, really atrocious. I know that this is not a hot take at all. People really don't like this, and I feel bad that Stola's got to work with it. But the nice thing is that, you know, they've still got a decent spot in ring. So maybe by the time that it eventually becomes relevant, they'll be able to, you know, pop down, get themselves some other sites, and maybe off of teams like H&M that would have fallen in the meantime. Barrier does get erected by Muse and Flower, and Now, wrapping around to the side, he's going to have to work with the rest of the team to actually keep everyone at bay because fences are not going to be nearly enough. A lot of value coming out of the Watson ultimate, though.
Heavy damage coming in, and lots of it coming out of H&M. The Spitfire hits hard, but looks like Hundreds going down to about 50 HP. Hundreds ends up being the first one to go down in this engagement. The Peacekeeper does end up coming out, but Newcastle will fall as well. So only one more player left, able to take down the final. So now we have a 1v1 dig of 100 on Bang. Gonna shoot some dead bodies here. 5 squads remaining, going in for the rest. Excellently played by 100 Bang to not only stay alive, but to wipe yet another team.
And this is their biggest game, right? We talked about other squads that are doubling their point scores from earlier, GNR most notably, but now they're not the only ones. 100 on Bang has been waiting for their come up all day, and now they finally got it. Alter Ego, they finally found their fight. Noxcast Grenade goes out, and there comes the damage. Boxa T is going to be the one that ends up going down. With an Arc Star through the window, Obsessed will be able to heal up just in the nick of time, and Alter Ego have themselves a building in zone. Most Hated have themselves a fight. They're looking to take out 100 on Bang, and Apathy has already ended up going down. This is looking good for Most Hated, but they're eating shots from the side. They finally take out 100 on Bang, but the third parties arrive just in time. MJ goes low. GNR don't find the knock just yet, but wrapping with the Digi threat, they end up taking out Caustic, get the reset with the bubble, and continue forward.
GNR bringing us down to 4 squads, but they are not done yet. They have another squad literally right in front of them over toward the north side, and the team all the way onto the south side here, as we will be coming down to our dramatic conclusion very soon. GNR making sure that they loot up, having 2 players already having the red shield, 1 with purple. They're clearly ready to fight. Alter Ego, our number 4 team, coming right into the action, and look how powerful that Volt can be, knocking out Optimal Ambition.
Big deletion there, and now 3 squads left. Zone 4, by the way, just now starting to close, so we're gonna have to book it towards each other to try and figure out who is going to be our victor, our very last victor of the day in the first qualifiers for Season 5 Series E. Already lighting it up. The action in this game has been immaculate, and I love that these teams gave us a little bit of content to round out the day.
And with 3 teams and 8 players on the map, that means that somebody is not going to be fully loaded here. So Alter Ego having great positioning, sitting towards the center of hill, gatekeeping anybody trying to grind forward. That Spitfire in hands, and luckily they were able to get themselves a 2x, much better than that Iron Sight that you were talking about before. Alter Ego are poised to win the game just on positioning alone, but the question is, can they execute?
I'm wondering the same thing as you. Right now, answers would point to yes. Plenty of beams from Polar Bear. He's actually finding shots across the canyon consistently. Broken shields on the other side. But we've got plenty of time for other teams to evaluate the way that they're going to enter this. I'm expecting perhaps a Valk ult, as there aren't a whole lot of other safe ways to cross all of this lava. If there's any other way, of course, it would be hoping that another team upstages you. Hoping that another team upstages you. We've had games like that in the past, and Alter Ego going to play this slow. There comes the Valk ult. GNR making their entryway, and if they win a game for the 4th game of the day, this would be massive for them.
Triple red armor coming out of GNR as they manage to land safely here. Got to avoid a couple of nades, but luckily they're not getting hard sent by any of these squads. And these nades are easy to dodge from here. Loving the positioning coming out of GNR. Alter Ego doing a great job of commanding space and demanding the whole entire circle, but GNR end up finding an entry point. Meanwhile, Highlight finding a couple of shots, gonna bring him down all of his shields, and luckily he's able to play a battery. Alter Ego still sitting up top, and do have a team on the north-hand side. I still love the position for Alter Ego. How are you liking them so far?
I mean, this is looking excellent. Take a look at their barrel positioning as well, and they've got their flanks covered. I'd like to see a few more barrels placed on the low ground to upset these 2 squads, but there has been a lot of ground given up. There it is. Mitten, very nicely done, recognizing that that sort of disruption could be exactly what they need, making it so much harder for GNR to contest the only other 3-man squad in the entire lobby.
Defensive bombardment coming in. little bit of damage here, but might have been a bit early. Luckily, Min dropping a couple of canisters to keep that team out. Looks like round 5 hill is starting to close in. Ultra Ego just waiting for both of these squads to grind forward as they all have to push towards them. I said it before, positioning is key, and Ultra Ego have the best position on the map.
I am so excited to see how this end game plays out. Will we see Alter Ego finally able to pilot their way to a victory? Will GNR pull off the comeback of the century, or will we get a two-man squad walking away with the final win of the very first game in these or the very first day in these qualifiers? It's a big, big question. I honestly don't know which bet I would take, but look at the ring pull. Alter Ego have it right on top of them. I gotta say, why not? That makes it a whole lot simpler. The odds are seemingly ever in their favor.
I said it before, I'm loving Ultra Ego's positioning, and we're finding out in just 7 seconds, both teams will have to move right into the hands of Ultra Ego, and patience is key. Canisters still going out. It looks like one team decided to make the move. It's going to be the duo. Ultra Ego puts a couple of shots in, but keeping their eye on the prize. They know that the fully loaded squad is also wrapping, and they forced the early bubble. That's going to be 90 damage coming from the Spitfire, and still getting value out of it. Beautifully played by Ultra Ego, but finally the damage is starting to come back. Ultra Ego now backing down to play a heal, and now that team is going to be able to get forward, and they're doing so for free.
Great moves, though, from Alter Ego. They were fighting a war on two fronts, and you guys all remember from your history classes, that is not a good idea. Not for France, not for anyone. GNR are going to be able to get that flank off, but instead, backing out to give a little bit of ground. Alter Ego recuperate their position, retake it, and are now sending it onto the two-man squad, using this defensive bombardment as a stopgap, giving them enough time to finish off the 3v3. As that expires, though, things get risky for them. GNR, they can start pushing up as well. Do not have angles underneath, but now back up top. You spot what's going on in front of you. Now, can you do anything about it? GNR have such a narrow window into this game, but Alter Egos is slipping further and further away. The zone's closing in on Mitten. He hasn't got the health to sustain this position, and there's no bubble for this team. The portal from Obsessed is going to have to get them to safety. Ticking away, the zone's going to start hurting, and Alter Ego give that up. Instead, going for the two-man squad. Polar Bear's got the angles. Polar Bear has got those smacks, and turning it around with these caustic barrels, they're going to eliminate the very first of the 3 squads. Alter Ego still getting ticked away on by caustic as Obsessed pops up to the height. Most hated go out, and it's between Alter Ego and GNR as GNR send it over the wall. They're at 3 men, and they take the game away. GNR pull off the miracle run and make their way to a win in Game 4.
Ultra Ego had that positioning going into the final 3, but they took a little bit too much damage. They were forced to back down and flank behind that wall, and GNR took advantage of the situation, were able to steal away their positioning, and eventually steal away the win. So well played by GNR, who were in a terrible positioning, but somehow turned it into the, I guess, the bread of that sandwich, and the collapse was beautiful by them. They've earned our final win here for Series E Season 5 qualifier.
And this win means so much to them. We're going to find out exactly how much once, of course, we come back from a very short break. So we'll pop out. We'll see you guys later.
gonna do it in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, everybody. GNR close out the night with the win. It was looking a little scary there. Alter Ego had the high ground positioning. Seemed like they were in the perfect spot. Maybe GNR was waiting a little too long, but they get the right push at the right time and grab the win to close out the night. So well played from them. Let's check out our final player of the game here for our first qualifier here for Season 5. And it's going to go to highlight there with a really solid performance there on the Valkyrie. 5 kills and 5 assists, just short of 1,500 damage, and just a really good all-around game there from GNR. We heard Dia highlighting the squad throughout that last game. Bit of a comeback performance and a nice little cherry on top of a solid night there from the squad, and a good comeback there to close it out. So well played to them and well played to highlight. Now I'm going to hand it back to Dia and Why Not here to get their final thoughts on the show, and then I'll be back to close it out. So gentlemen, how are we feeling?
Damage, that definitely is my player of the game right there. Congratulations, highlight what big plays were made, and I'm wondering how that's going to shake up the leaderboard. Dia, what an excellent Series E qualifier. We did have some ups and downs. There's some hurdles that we had to get over, but we made it. We're here, and here is your final leaderboard. Redeem and Optimal Ambition, both getting 46 points total.
It's a crazy day for both Redeem and Optimal Ambition to be able to tie at the top. Alter Ego with 43 points as well, but really anybody in the double digits, especially if you've gotten above 30 points or even close to it, I think you come away from today happy, because qualifiers are about big performances as much as they are consistency. And for even teams like Synergy, Realm Royale, GNR, I think that we can be really happy for them. Let's take a look at that Mobile 1 moment and see who ended up making, of course, for our final game of the day. As we had a lot of high performance moments that time around, but Alter Ego in this end game looking really good, and Polar Bear holding down the fort, really was MVP for this squad, being able to juggle multiple things, multiple squads rather, on the Gibraltar, lay down the safety for his team. Unfortunately, at the end, wasn't quite enough, was it?
It really wasn't. I love the way Alter Ego played this about 90% of the time, but eventually GNR sneaking in, stealing away that positioning, and then GNR were ready to fight easily, or almost making it look easy, I should say, stealing away that game win. Now, still, I mean, we literally have to talk about the fact that Redeem hold on to that one spot, able to put 46 points, and also Optimal Ambition. This is not the only qualifier. All these teams are going to be duking out. We're going to continue to try to grind forward. I wonder if we will see a new leader going into tomorrow, or will they hold on to that 1 and 2 spot?
I mean, this is the really exciting thing, right? Qualifiers are going to continue. So if one of your teams, one of your favorite teams, barely missed out on the finals, or you saw someone in the finals and became a fan, no matter what the case is, perhaps you're still looking for your one Apex squad that you want to try and steal away, see who makes it in to Series E. You've got the chance to tune into Qualifiers tomorrow. We are going to take a look at the leaderboard once again, just to remind ourselves, of course, of where everyone ended up. You talked about it, Redeem having great performances, but teams like Team Inferno, who didn't manage to break out of even the 0-point mark after dropping out of Game 1, I think have a lot to prove, because I've seen Team Inferno a lot around the semi-pro scene, and I know that they can take these games.
Well, we're going to find out who's going to end up being sponsored by some of our we're talking about well-known brands, by the way. Excedrin, Razer, Nerf. We're going to find out who is going to be sponsored by them. Again, this was only day one of the qualifiers. We have plenty of action. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow to catch more of it. We're going to send it over to Yeso to close things out. Dia, it was a pleasure.
Yes, it was. We'll see you later.
Well done, gentlemen. So much fun to listen to you both here tonight, and great cast on the day. And of course, shout out to Super Deem and Optimal Ambition. Both squads looking, honestly, really solid all through the 4 games here tonight, and they both come out at the top of the standings there. And that's a good chunk of points for them while they're looking to qualify for Season 5 of Series E Apex Legends. Now, I do have an update for everybody from our TOs. I do want to let you all know, of course, we certainly appreciate everybody, the viewers, and especially the players' patience through some of the server issues that we did deal with tonight during the tournament. And the TOs have decided that as of right now, we are going to postpone tomorrow night's qualifiers until we are comfortable and confident that we can get a smooth qualifier running front to back. We do not want, players to have to deal with consistent lag or disconnect issues. So for right now, we are going to postpone tomorrow night's qualifier to a later date. Of course, we will announce that when we are ready to do so, but we want to make sure that everybody can come in and have a good experience and compete to the best of their ability for the qualifier. So we will be postponing tomorrow night. So we appreciate, again, everybody's patience, from the viewers to the players, for tonight. And we thank you so much for coming to hang out. That is going to do it for us here tonight, folks. Thank you so much for coming to hang out. I hope you enjoyed the show. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.